at the box office this weekend, Lilo and Stitch won once again and pulled in $32.5 million. The live-action remake from Disney has passed $770 million around the world so far and is believed to be on track to be the first $1 billion release this year.
I might be incorrect, but is it the first movie to have 3 weeks at number 1 this year?
Don't know. Very well could be. The John Wick spinoff film starring Ana de Armas Ballerina debuted in second place with a take of $25 million. Mission Impossible Final Reckoning landed in third place this time around with a haul of $15 million. And rounding out the top 5 were Karate Kid Legends in fourth and Final Destination Bloodlines in fifth.
No Life of Chuck in there, huh?
So, Casey, it only opened in 16 theaters this last weekend, so that's why I didn't get a chance to see it. It will open more widely coming up this weekend. So I was going to try and get out and see it. But, yeah, definitely this coming week I'm going to see it. Jared Leto has been accused of sexual misconduct by multiple women. On Saturday, Air Mail published a story following interviews with 9 women who claimed that the 53-year-old actor and musician behaved inappropriately toward them, some while they were underage.
Do you like having your back rubbed?
The women allege a long-standing pattern of such behavior. An anonymous woman told the outlet it's been an open secret for a long time. Among the allegations, Leto is accused of asking sexual questions to a 16-year-old girl, walking out of a room nude in front of a 17-year-old girl, and exposing himself and pleasuring himself before putting an 18-year-old's hand on him. In a statement to Air Mail, a representative for the 30 Seconds of Mars band member expressly denied all allegations. A representative for Leto did not immediately respond to People magazine's request for comment. Among the allegations featured in the report, Laura LaRue, a model who was 16 in 2008, recalled meeting Leto at an animal rights benefit that year and connecting with him over email before he invited her to his studio. She visited his studio in April of 2009 and recalled him allegedly flirting with her while there. A representative for Leto said that their communications contained nothing sexual or inappropriate, and that LaRue later applied to work as Mr. Leto's personal assistant, further underscoring the absence of anything inappropriate in any of their interactions. LaRue, however, denied that she ever applied for a position. She also alleged that Leto walked out of a room nude, she said, like it was normal on one occasion when she was 17. She said, I thought maybe this is just what adult men do. One woman claimed that she was 16 years old in 2008 when Leto approached her at Earth Cafe in Los Angeles and got her number. And days later, called her home in the middle of the night. And she said it was the weirdest, grossest voice, adding that she didn't know if he was on drugs. A representative for the actor said he has not had a drink or used drugs in over 35 years. Now, the woman alleged that after she turned down an invitation to attend a party, Leto would continue to call her in the early mornings over the span of 3 weeks. And after conversation, she claimed, and the conversations turned sexual. He'd ask things like, have you ever had a boyfriend, and have you ever sucked a
hot dog.
Yeah, a hot dog. So she said he changed his voice, the way that he talked. It scares me.
Do you like pudding?
That was the first time I thought, oh, my God, that's not just in movies. The woman's mother said she overheard a phone call and could confirm her story. Another woman who claims that she was underage when she began texting Leto alleged that the actor would ask her uncomfortable questions during visits to his home, and that during one visit when she was 18, he suddenly pulled his penis out and started pleasuring himself. Then he walked over, grabbed my hand, and put it on him. And he leaned in and said, quote, I want you to spit on it.
So that is just straight up. That would be straight up sexual assault.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, that would be.
That would be. And the other thing, so there was some lawyer on TMZ was talking about the if he's seeking out. I want a 16-year-old. I want a 50. You could walk into a room with a woman who's a model and not be aware she's underage. Those are a gray area. When you're grabbing someone's hand and putting it on your crotch, that's sexual assault.
Yep. So elsewhere in the report, one woman alleged that she was definitely not the youngest person there while attending one of Leto's parties at his home in the 2000 when she was 18. She was also alleged that the focus of the party appeared to be getting girls to skinny dip. But a representative for Leto said that there was never any recruiting complaints or impropriety. Nightlife promoter Brent Bolthouse, who organized multiple parties at Leto's home, told the outlet that he never saw anyone skinny dipping. So We'll see where these allegations end up going and if there are going to be any charges or anything like that are brought against them. On a lighter note, David Beckham is reportedly set to receive a knighthood.
Wow.
In King Charles's upcoming birthday honors list, recognizing his soccer legacy and contributions to British society.
Why doesn't that come officially with a full suit of armor?
And the title would make his wife Victoria Beckham Lady Beckham.
Lady Beckham.
Beckham was first nominated for knighthood in 2011 and received the Order of the British Empire in 2003. Alongside his soccer achievements, he's been active in charity work, served as a UNICEF ambassador since 2005, was a key figure in the 2012 Olympics.
Lady Sporty Spice.
In 2024, he became an ambassador for the King's Foundation. Recently, he appeared with King Charles and Queen Camilla at the Chelsea Flower Show.
Lady Ginger Spice.
As well. So, yeah, he's a knight.
So what's his guesstimated wealth? He's got to be one of the... He's got to be one of the most... one of the wealthiest from all of his years. He was always it's probably like $1 billion.
Yeah.
That's his accountant.
Yeah, he's got oodles of money.
That's the British pound. Is when you reach a lot, you hit an oodle.
Nick pulled up something, but I never believe these. It says David Beckham's wealth is estimated to be around $600 million. So
I bet it's more.
It probably is more. Yeah. Taylor Swift, speaking of rich people, surprised fans who were wedding guests in Knoxville, Tennessee, by showing up with her boyfriend, Travis Kelce. The two definitely took the opportunity to revel in the fun atmosphere. A video by a TikTok user showed Swift and Kelce dancing together while settling down at the reception.
That would have to be pretty wild. I mean, I'm sure the anticipation would be like that. At my wedding, Preston, in the room, the room that was next to ours, Robert Hedges, who played Epstein, his uncle was in that room.
That's amazing.
It wasn't as exciting.
The wedding itself was for Kelce's cousin, Tanner Coram, who married Samantha Peck. Fans may remember that Peck was previously seen with Swift when she shared a photo with the pop star back in 2023. Taylor and Travis were spotted in Palm Beach, Florida earlier this week on a loved-up dinner date. So they're just having a blast.
I read a couple of things. There's an article about celebrity interactions, and in the moments when there aren't the paparazzi around. And there were a couple of stories about Taylor Swift that were really nice, like really.
Okay. I believe it.
People coming up and, I think those are the moments, for what it's worth, where you can really judge how someone is.
Yep, I agree. All right, the Tony Awards were yesterday. Wicked star Cynthia Erivo and Tony winner herself for The Color Purple had hosted. And I've got a few of the winners to pass along to you. Maybe Happy Ending, a love story about two robots, won the Best Musical. While Purpose, a sharp family drama about a civil rights icon, earned Best Play. Nicole Scherzinger took home Best Leading Actress in a Musical for Sunset Boulevard, emotionally telling the gathering of Broadway's best and brightest. You all have made me feel like I belong, and I have come home at last.
That's pretty wild, man, because she was like, what, a pussycat doll?
Pussycat doll. Apparently, she is just crushed as it. I mean, clearly she won.
Yeah.
Sarah Snook won Best Leading Actress in a play for playing 26 roles in The Portrait of Dorian Gray.
Your girl.
And Cole Escola won Best Leading Actor in a play for playing Mary Todd Lincoln in Oh, Mary. Which could be Oh, Gary, right?
Oh, Gary.
We have a clip that would go perfect with that.
Oh, Gary! So I normally would have watched at least a bit of them, but I was sitting in at a vet's office. But I was surprised to learn how many big productions I'm completely unaware of.
Oh, my God.
They were reeling off a number of things like, is that even a show? The one sounds like that movie Heart Beeps. That the robots falling in love.
Right.
And so all these things sound pretty cool, though.
Brendan Jacobs Jenkins became only the third playwright to win Tonys in consecutive years for Appropriate and last time for Purpose at this year's ceremony. And Kara Young made history as the first black performer to win back-to-back Tonys for Purpose this year, and Pearly Victorious last time. The ceremony also honored the 10th anniversary of Hamilton. I believe we might have a clip of that, Casey.
Yep.
With Lin-Manuel Miranda and the original cast performing, and host Cynthia Erivo commenting on how the show changed not just Broadway, but how Americans view their own history. So here's a clip of some of that.
I'm gonna get a scholarship to King's College. I probably shouldn't brag the tag. I'm amazing and astonished. The problem is I got a lot of brains with no polish. I got a holler just to be heard with every word. I drop knowledge. Yeah, I'm fast, patiently waiting. I'm passionately smashing every expectation, every accent's an act of creation. I'm laughing in the face of casualties of sorrow. For the first time I'm thinking
Such a great show.
Yeah, so live energy when you go and see a show, even if you're sitting in a super tiny Broadway seat.
Yeah.
When they come out on stage, whatever show it is, and they're putting on that production, it's going to get you.
Yeah, it's impressive. Hey, congratulations to Tom Hiddleston and fiancee Zawe Ashton. They are expecting their second child together. Ashton broke the news in an interview with Vogue over the weekend, debuting her baby bump on Saturday night on the red carpet for the South by Southwest London premiere of Hiddleston's The Life of Chuck. Hiddleston and Ashton have been engaged since 2022. They share a child born that same year. So congrats to those guys.
I think you'd have to name them all after Marvel characters,
You
right?
have to.
Yeah. Ooh. Where would you start?
Well, the first would be
So
Loki,
many.
and the second would be Hulk.
Yeah. All right.
This is my daughter, Hulk.
Told you last year that actress Eliza Dushku had left acting to pursue another calling. She has become a therapist specializing in psychedelic-assisted therapy while working towards earning a master's degree in counseling and clinical mental health. And mission accomplished. The Buffy the Vampire Slayer star has announced that she is graduating from Lesley University, earning an advanced degree in clinical mental health counseling.
That's pretty cool.
Yep. She wrote on Instagram on Friday, graduating with my master's degree feels like more than an achievement. It feels like a deep calling realized. True growth, energy, and passion manifested. She stepped away from acting altogether in 2017 to pursue her new career.
Now, on that show, Dollhouse, in particular, apparently she was kind of mentally brutalized by Joss Whedon, is the word. And so she had, and a lot of other people commiserated with it. They said she wasn't just like making stuff up, that it was really like a bad environment.
Yeah.
And so she dealt with a lot of, I guess, abuse. And to turn it around this way is pretty cool.
Good for her. That's awesome. Hey, actress Jenny Garth is starring in her first ever underwear campaign at 53 years old.
I saw the pics.
Yeah, she looks great.
Looks great.
On June 5th, the Beverly Hills 90210 star took to Instagram to share photos from the Third Love photo shoot and reflect on her own confidence. She wrote in the caption, I never thought I'd be doing my first underwear shoot at 53, but here we are. And I've never felt more confident or comfortable in my own skin.
And she said her line is the skid mark line.
No. She went on to explain that she was proud to be taking part in the campaign, not just because it's a first for me, but because it's with a brand that genuinely supports women through every phase of life, including menopause. So this is menopause focused. Garth has previously opened up about her own menopause journey, referring to menopause as a massive cyclone that comes into your life and just does all kinds of destruction. She said, I forget that there's so much happening inside me, causing so many changes. And that, of course, and I'm not always going to feel or be able to perform how I'd like to or expect to. I have to remind myself to give myself some grace. I'm doing the best I can, and that makes me feel a little better.
She's another one that I think looks better than she's ever looked, you know, as wears her age well. And to that point, Preston, menopause and all that stuff, we skirt so much.
Oh, yeah.
As guys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that is, we have a friend who is going through menopause right now, and the temperature shifts, the hot flashes, like breaking into sweating. It's just insane.
Just everything that comes along with that. So Garth's campaign with Third Love introduces the brand's Temp Sync line, designed for people going through menopause symptoms. As Garth explains in a recent post, it's the world's first temperature-regulating collection of bras and underwear.
Wow. I have a question about menopause. For women who have gone through like hysterectomies, does that mean they won't ever
those
go
symptoms
through?
stop after that?
Yeah, well, like
That's my understanding.
Because I know a few people in their 30s had to have all of that stuff taken out. Does that mean that they will no longer?
They always say, I've always heard that if that is removed, that you will not experience menopause. Of course, I'm pre-law, so I would not go by me.
Well, Nick pulled up an article. It says, yes, menopause can occur after a hysterectomy. But whether it happens immediately or eventually depends on whether your ovaries are removed during the procedure.
There we go.
If they are removed, which is called an oophorectomy, menopause occurs immediately as your body stops producing estrogen. So there you go.
Interesting.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, let me see. Oh, yeah, I definitely wanted to pass this one along. I thought this was pretty cool to see over the weekend. John Candy, I Like Me, a documentary from director Colin Hanks and producer Ryan Reynolds, will open the 50th edition of the Toronto International Film Festival set for September 4th. Candy, of course, was a Toronto-born comedian, rose to fame on Canada's sketch comedy show SCTV, went on to star in films like Spaceballs, Uncle Buck, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, National Lampoon's Vacation, Little Shop of Horrors. Unexpectedly died of a heart attack at the age of 43 in 1994. The movie presents an unvarnished look at the funny man's life on and off camera, featuring home videos and candid interviews with his family, friends, and collaborators. According to the logline, it said, it's the story of a son, husband, father, friend, and professional driven to bring joy to audiences and loved ones while battling personal ghosts and Hollywood pressures.
If you want to see something that is wonderfully touching and gives you a great picture of what John Candy was, Catherine O'Hara's eulogy for John Candy is so beautiful, and so touching. And she talks about all the things he did quietly. Like he would go in, like stop by a restaurant and hang out at the bar, and people start to notice him. If it was a slow night, he would hang out for better business for the place. Or he goes, and she would say he'll give you a tip that you might confuse with a week's salary. Or he was just this kind of guy who did these things because like he was legitimately a good person.
Amazon MGM is back in the film, and that will debut on Prime Video in the fall. So definitely looking forward to seeing that.
Did you see the Pee Wee Herman thing? Did you watch?
No, not yet.
That's really good, too.
Yeah, that's what I heard. All right, so in order to set audiences old and new up for the long-awaited sequel to This Is Spinal Tap, the original film will be making a brief return to the big screen. The remastered and remixed 4K restoration of the 1984 mockumentary returns to theaters July 5th to the 6th. The premise for the sequel involves the band reuniting after 15 years for one final show, sparked by an old Spinal Tap song going viral on social media. Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues, hits theaters in September 12th. So I really hope that is as good as we want it to be.
Yeah.
It's a tall order, but...
We'll always have the first. And I remember from the first few seconds in Spinal Tap when they're sitting there for that interview with Marty Berge, right? That's the director's name, I believe. Carl Reiner.
Rob Reiner.
Rob Reiner, sorry. Thanks. But the exchanges are so funny and they're so dry. And it sets the tone for the movie so well. It's just great.
All right, and then one last story. Friday is about to get even freakier. Disney just dropped a full trailer for Freakier Friday, and this one reveals more about where the OG mom and daughter duo are now. Anna, reprised by Lindsay Lohan, is marrying hot single dad Manny Jacinto, whose posh daughter, played by Sophia Hammonds, totally clashes with Anna's own daughter, played by Julia Butters. Cue the magic body swap chaos, but this time it's double the switches. Despite their differences, the teens trapped in Lohan and Jamie Curtis's bodies hatch a plan to cancel the wedding by reuniting Lindsay with her first love, and thankfully that means Chad Michael Murray is back as Jake. Freakier Friday will hit theaters August 8th. I thought their version of I thought it was great.
I enjoyed it a lot.
The original one was
their
so well
chemistry
done.
was great. And I got to say, I don't know what the hell Lindsay Lohan's doing, but she went through one of that over filler phase, and now she looks fantastic.
She looks great. I agree. Yeah, so hopefully this is a good springboard for her. All right, and we got some clips. So Kevin Costner's The West explores the multi-layered portrait that makes up the American frontier, from literal trailblazers to the law enforcers in battles for both land and freedom. Here, he talks about the importance of American history.
I wish we would have a giant shift in education where history dominated more than math. Because the people that are really good at math, they're going to search out math anyway because that's who they are. They're just built that way. But everybody can understand where they come from.
Yeah! New episode of Kevin Costner's The West airs tonight, and that's on the History Channel. Here's our next clip. Saturday night, George Clooney made Broadway history by becoming the first show to simulcast a performance on network TV. And here he talks about performing Good Night and Good Luck live on CNN.
It was nerve-wracking because we just came up with a concept 3 weeks ago, so we had to put it together really quickly. And it was fun. Look, it's exciting. Our feeling was theater tickets for our show were fairly expensive, and it was prohibitive for a lot of people to see it. And we gave away a couple thousand tickets for kids to come see it, and we thought, well, why don't we just let other people see it too? And it's a limited run, so you can do that. I mean, you can't do that with Hamilton.
We've been on Disney Plus for a few years now.
Good night and good luck. Wrapped its Broadway run yesterday before the Tonys.
What were tickets going? I know that, what was it? What was Denzel's?
Oh, yeah. It was like
Is that
$1,000.
Othello?
Yeah. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yep, that is a whole lot
Yeah.
for one show.
You better throw in a snack.
All right, and that is what I have for your entertainment report this morning. We got some stuff coming up. Steve-O is going to be joining us later this morning. Our buddy Ricky Batalico is stopping by as well. But when we return from this short break, we have an announcement to make, something that has not happened in quite a few years.
Yeah.
That we're quite excited
We
about.
are very excited.
And you can win something. We'll be back in a moment to tell you about it. Stay with us.
Preston and Steve.
93.3 WMMR.
Thank you, Kathy. Steve, you want to share some info?
Yes, I do. After a couple years, the Mutiny on the Mashalou is back. It's my wife's signature charity event for Max Fund, which benefits TNR programs and helps get homeless cats and medical treatment, provides a centralized fund that pet charities can call from anyway. It's been a couple years, so it's back on the Mashalou. It's sponsored by Rafferty Subaru. Parking will be free. They're giving a special dispensation that evening. The wonderful people down there are taking care of the parking. So let me tell you what you get for your ticket price of $40. It's pretty amazing. You get great food tastings from Algorithm Restaurant, Zaz Ice Cream, Tuck-Ins, Nothing Bun Cakes, Rosie's Kettle Corn, Insomnia Cookies, Finger Food for the Mashalou, and more. Drink tastings from Yard's Brewery, Chadsford Winery, Clear Rum, Stateside Vodka, and more. And the cool part is, I don't know if you haven't been to one before, there are wandering entertainers while this is going on. And that DJ Perry's providing the music. Bad Entertainment will provide jugglers, giant bubble-blowing guys. Mike Palladino is a magician. Strongman Todd Jones. Tarot card readers, Reagan Tilton and Jacqueline, let me get her name correct here, Baker. Bryn the Contortionist is going to be the Pirateers, Kittens to Pet. It's a big thing. That $40 is going to go to the charity. Everyone is donating their wonderful services and food gratis. So it's a win-win for all the animals in the tri-state area.
It's only $40.
That's pretty damn good.
Hell yeah.
And everyone's very generous about it. You can go to maxfund.com to order your tickets. It's June 8th. Thursday. It's from 6 to 9, so it's before your weekend plans. I'm going to be there, and there's going to be a lot of people hanging out there. We'd love to see you. Have a good time.
I'll be there.
Oh, awesome. And so I'll be hitting it. It's just great to be up on the deck of the Mashalou. Love that place. And again, the fact that you do not have to pay for the parking in that lot right there makes it super convenient. So we'd love to see you out at the event. And
I have to believe this is all at PrestonandSteve.com.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay.
And we're adding stuff. So it actually, as people find out about it, very generous food providers and other people and entertainers are approaching me and like, yeah, let's make the party even bigger. So,
awesome.
And my wife Claire is doing a great job putting everything together. So it's awesome. But thank you, Preston. I just wanted to get it out.
No, please.
We're excited about it.
PrestonandSteve.com to get the info. Another thing I want to mention, just a reminder, this weekend, the movie The Machine opens up.
Yes.
And we want you, if you love Bert Kreischer and love our relationship with Bert, go see the movie.
Yeah, go see it.
Support it, and it looks hilarious.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic.
If it gets a good, strong first week, that's all you need. That weekend, Memorial Day weekend, it'll be fantastic.
I'm going to hit that a few times this week just to remind people. There's a great picture of him and Kevin Smith together. Did he come by for an interview with a podcast or something?
He was on Kevin's podcast. Yeah, I watched some of it yesterday. I think they ended up talking. This might surprise you, for 2.5 hours.
Oh my God!
Yeah, because both of those guys are talkers and have a million stories to tell. But yeah, I watched a few of the clips yesterday, and it's cool to the guys that we love the best, and to see them in the same room at the same time is pretty nice.
Opens on Friday. Go see The Machine. All right, in a little while, we are going to have a young woman by the name of Maggie Drozdowski on the program. You probably saw the story. If not, she was bit by a shark.
Yeah.
In Stone Harbor, surfing. 6 stitches, nothing really bad, but I mean, there haven't been any shark bites in a while down that way, and her foot looks pretty gnarly. We're going to talk to her in a little while about that, and while the subject is up, I didn't think we'd have too many people that would have stories of being bitten by sharks.
Yeah, I was bitten half, but I'm doing fine.
But, man, there are people, if you've been bitten by an animal, it's pretty freaky, and if you think about it, you know, and I'm not talking about dogs and cats.
Yeah,
and obviously
scruffy on the couch.
Those can be pretty bad too. But there are plenty of other animals that can bite you. And even though you, as a human being, are going to win in that competition, the other one's going to die if you want it to. It's still pretty freaky, terrifying.
There was a story recently about a woman, a dairy farm, was bitten by a cow.
Oh, yeah.
Bitten by a cow.
Sure, man.
And like a lot of damage, broke her arm.
Yeah, 215-263-WMMR. If you were bitten by an animal, not just, you know, your pet or a dog or a cat, something a little bit different than that. We'd like to hear about that.
My friend lives on a farm, and the neighboring farm has cows, and there were babies there. And so we were there once, and we went to go look at the calf. And my friend stepped into where it was, and she was like, you guys stay there, because she said if the mom gets like pissed, you don't want to be in here for that.
Sure.
So
you just don't think a cow's that way.
Yeah, just thought like a cow. Like, well, we could get out in enough time. Like, they're slow. They're big.
You're only
know?
seconds away from an utter catastrophe.
Come on.
Seriously.
Come on.
You know what freaks me out though? Like the little reptiles that like can like latch on. You know, like a kid, like a little boy is playing with one, and it just latches onto their finger.
So Trish here from our sales department, she and her husband have bearded dragons. And I was at their house one night, and she was showing them to us, and I stepped away for a little bit, and she's like, oh, I got bit. And I turn around, and she's got blood pouring out of her hand. And she thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you just got bit by a freaking dragon.
A dinosaur.
Yeah. I remember my fraternity brother got bitten by his python. He was going in there. He had the mouse in his hand, and the python was like, no, I'm going to go for your arm.
Dude, my friend growing up had a snake. That snake ate him more than the mice and crap he'd put in the tank. He was constantly getting bitten by that friggin' snake.
Dude, the scene in Road Trip where Tom Brady
which
just totally wraps its mouth around his hand. Oh, my God.
I don't get owning snakes and stuff like that. But I did see, Steve, a picture of a snake. This guy dressed up as an Uber driver. He goes, oh, my, like little Billy got his first job. He had a helmet on this thing and a little backpack that said Uber Eats on it.
On the snake?
On the snake. It was hilarious. I'm like, okay, first cute snake I've ever seen in my entire life.
I've never seen a helmet on a snake.
No, you have to see this. It was like an albino python.
I've seen a snake smoking before.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Really?
Yeah. There's a really good picture of a
I saw
snake
an adult man pleasure a camel.
You did? Tijuana?
Let me go to, I have Luke. Search snake smoking if you want.
Yeah, and the helmet thing.
Nick needs to see that. And the helmet thing, too. Hi, Luke. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, I just want to tell a story about how I used to be a UPS driver up in Vincenttown, New Jersey, and I had to make a delivery to a farm that had a bunch of where they would raise horses, where you would sit on those carts. And I'm going up to go do the delivery, and then you got your driver's door open because it's so hot in the summertime, and all of a sudden I just feel this bite on my leg, and I look over, and there's an ostrich.
What?
An ostrich?
Stop it.
Come on, really?
Yeah, they actually had a pet ostrich that would roam the property for some reason. And I could not make the delivery, so I'm in the UPS truck, honking the horn. Nobody's coming out. I'm like, I got to get this thing off the truck because with UPS is every package every day. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So here I am. I run out the passenger side. The ostrich starts chasing me. I'm running around the back of the truck. I hop through the driver's door. It tries to lunge at me through the driver's door. I get out the passenger door again. I run to the barn, drop the package off. The lady comes out of the barn and she grabs the ostrich by the neck and holds it. She's like, get back in your truck right now. I'm like, you don't have to tell me twice.
I bet you I know what was in that box. It was probably ostrich sedatives.
Oh, my God.
Jesus.
Have a good one, guys.
Yeah,
Dude, see you, Luke.
There's a I think she's on Instagram. She has an account, but she has, I guess, you know what I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about.
And it's this bird is it an emu or an ostrich?
It's an
emu.
Right.
Yeah.
And it freaks out all the time, and it comes charging, and she's
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
She'll do videos with like selfie videos of her, and she'll just like slowly pan over to this like vicious thing ready to like bite her.
We will go next to Will. Hey, Will, morning.
Rhythm, schism, a brizza.
Ah, rhythm, schism. What's up, buddy?
What's up, guys? Skull Sealer here.
The Skull Sealer.
I got bit by a groundhog.
Whoa.
Now they've
Don't
got.
drive angry.
Yeah, don't drive angry. They've got sharp little friggin' teeth, don't they?
Yeah, giant in sizes, man. So I was coming home from work one day, and I saw this animal in the road. So I slowed down, and it was still alive. It was a tiny little groundhog. It wasn't like a full-grown, like full pounder or anything, but it was pretty small. So I got out of my van, picked it up, moved it to the side of the road, and it bit me in the web of like my thumb.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. I still have the scar from it.
So I assume you don't know if the thing is rabid or not. Did you go to the doctor immediately?
I did not.
Oh, dude.
You became a were-badger.
Will, the thing is biting you. Did you start like smacking it on the head to let go, or was it a quick bite?
It was a quick bite, but I did like try and shake it off. You know?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like thrashing or anything. It was just like a real quick chomp down my hand and then like a release. But
ow.
I don't know if it even survived. Who knows?
Thank you, Will. Appreciate it, man. I have a fear of being bitten by a snapping turtle.
Okay.
Oh, for good reason.
I'm fascinated with them. You will actually see them on golf courses a fair amount of time. At least once a year, I'll see a good size one just sitting out sunning itself. I'll go over and take a good close look at it.
Yeah.
Just because they're really prehistoric looking and
it's
really
like
cool, but
tank.
That beak terrifies me.
So Coney Island Aquarium has a snapping turtle, Preston.
Not your traffic on 93.3 WMMR.
All right, thank you very much, Marissa. Was at a graduation party this weekend. Obviously, a bunch of those are happening as we speak. Yeah, and in fact, we have graduation tonight. I'm looking at the rain. I'm not too happy about it so far, but I think things are going to be clearing up later on this evening. But I found myself at a party where you don't really know too many people, and that can be. It can be fun, but it can also be awkward or uncomfortable if you don't know people and you don't know what to talk about. I didn't have an issue. It was actually a great time and chatted with the people that I was hanging out with. But I saw this article that it touches on that.
The awkward interaction?
Yeah, well, just how to bring up something that people will actually engage in conversation about.
Well, this is listen, for many people, this is almost like an impossible thing. It stops people from going out. It stops people from socializing because it's such a critical thing.
Yeah, and you know what? And we're going to dive into this in a moment, but I realize we should probably make our announcement first.
Are you sure? See, listen.
I completely forgot about it.
You didn't know how to bring that up to me. You did not know, and this speaks to what you were saying.
I'm doing the diving in this full-on setup of this conversation we're going to have, and I'm like, wait, I forgot something.
I don't know how to tell Steve.
And I was teasing the fact that we were going to do it at about this time. So should we do that now?
I say yeah. All right, it's too big to keep.
Put a pin in that setup.
Yeah.
We'll come back to it in a moment. This is pretty badass. We are returning to a location that we have not done a live broadcast from in quite a while, and we are excited to announce that the Preston and Steve Show on Friday, June 26th, will be broadcasting live from Hershey Park. And we are going to be giving away 500 tickets for you to join the party.
There we go.
Yes. So here's what you got to do. You got to listen all week long. Listen to win a family 4-pack of tickets. It includes early admission to watch the broadcast and free parking as well, so you can get in before anybody else at the park. And here's what you can do. You can click events at WMMR.com. We have the complete details and another chance to win. The online entry deadline to enter is on Sunday the 22nd. So, right before we head out that way. So,
just one correction. You said Friday.
It's Thursday.
Yeah.
I don't know why it says Friday, June 26th on here.
It says Friday, June 26th on there?
Yeah.
That ain't
right.
Cool.
Let's make sure that Thursday.
It is definitely the 26th.
The 26th.
On Thursday.
Right? This is written incorrectly. So I'm sorry. It's a Thursday that we will be broadcasting live. Thursday, June 26th. And we're excited. We've did a number of live broadcasts at Hershey Park over the years and always had a great time.
Well, it's become the stuff of a show legend that people call up and jokingly ask for Hershey Park tickets.
That's right.
Because it's something that was so coveted. To be able to open up the park early, invite so many people, and just enjoy it was just fantastic. And we're so happy to revisit it.
Yeah, they've got 15 coasters. It makes up the largest collection in the Northeast. And get ready for the all-new Twizzlers Twisted Gravity. It is the world's tallest screaming swing. Ain't no way in hell I'm going on that thing.
I saw it. I'd have to work up a lot of courage to do that one.
Dude, I will puke all over the place. If any kind of swing ride.
Yeah.
If it spins, I'm not in on it. But we're looking at a video of it. Actually, that looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, we're doing that. We're totally doing that.
Might do that. And they've got rides for any taste whatsoever. I love this park. It is one of my absolute favorite parks to go to.
I agree. It's the Hershey itself, the town, the whole feeling, the cleanliness, it's just everything about it is terrific. So, we're excited to be returning and return this way with so many listeners with us.
Yeah. When do we start doing giveaways? We doing giveaways right now? How many you want me to give away? What do you think? We're doing 4-packs, right?
Well, hang on a second. The topic of conversation, do we want people to call in for the next topic of conversation?
Yeah.
So then let's not do any giveaways right now.
I will do it at the end.
At the end of this break.
All right, fair enough. Yeah. So we'll get to that in a little bit. Yeah. So listen up for your chance to win. You can go to the website as well for your opportunity to grab some tickets. But we are broadcasting live Thursday, June 26th. At Hershey Park. Not sure what area of the park we'll be in as of yet, but we'll get those details down the road. But we're giving away 500 pairs of tickets or 500 tickets, and we will have them in 4-packs, and you can get in early to the park.
And by the way, there's also, I don't know if you mentioned this, but there's also going to be a reduced price for admission as well for that day.
It doesn't say that on here, Steve, so I would hold off.
I'll pay for it.
Let's hold off.
Yeah.
Until we find out for sure. Marissa is waving. Yes.
I can confirm that on the website, Steve, there is a link for discounted tickets.
That you can purchase.
There you go.
Fair enough.
We nailed this announcement.
I'm saying.
Every T crossed, every I dotted, surgically imparted, usable, valid information.
I apologize. It's bad leadership. I started off that incorrectly.
You were solid. I didn't even notice anything.
I take responsibilities.
We'll
never noticed a thing.
We just got the date wrong and the giveaway wrong. But otherwise, everything's
all? Yeah. Right. All right. Anyway, back to the topic of conversation.
Yes. All right, I can help you out here.
All right. I'll rewind. Thank you. So I was at a graduation party.
Oh, were you?
No. But no, it's about, we were talking about getting conversations started that other people, groups of people can join in on.
Yeah, it's funny, Press. I was telling you yesterday, I was at a graduation party. Shout out to Grace Nelson and the whole Nelson crew. I was there.
I hang out with Grace all the time.
Yeah, well, it's funny because Mrs. Nelson was like, hey, listen, I just want to let you know that all of my friends are on Nelson listening watch when, during the morning show, just to hear if you say our name. And then I had a perfect opportunity to say their name today. So there you go to the Nelsons. But at one point, I was kind of bopping around because I didn't dig this conversation. And then I went over and I didn't dig that conversation.
I don't like talking to you. I'm moving along.
No. Believe it or not, I have a hard time sometimes with small talk in those settings.
I find that hard to believe from you.
If I can get in, it's a feeling.
A Wetzel's Pretzels observation in the queue.
No. Believe me, I am awkward all the time.
Well, I'll do the same thing. If I'm in a group setting and I find myself around a group of people who are having a conversation and I'm not vibing with it, I will do the Homer Simpson fade into the shrubs thing. Absolutely. And then move on and find somewhere else that I can actually contribute or that I have a legitimate interest in.
No, I know what you're saying. I think what happens is at a certain level, if you're getting nothing back, I can go and talk to anyone and engage in a conversation with anyone. At a certain point, though, it's clear it's reached its end.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, if you're not getting something back from someone, that's a problem. But there are people that I know in my life who are nervous, completely nervous in a situation, have no shot at instigating a conversation and just feel so awkward. And it's stultifying, to be in that situation.
I was at a 50th birthday party just a month and a half ago, and it was the same thing because I went without a home base, right? So I went by myself. and I knew people there, but I didn't have a home base. And I had a really, really hard time. I had one really decent conversation.
Were you like Pee-wee and the Hell's...
Kinda, but I had one
Hell's
really,
Angels bar?
really decent conversation. And then the conversation was going so well and going on for so long that I started to feel like I was... stealing him away from other people and other conversations. So then I just abruptly ended it.
You're a butterfly.
Because I was like, oh, weird. And then somebody headbutted a guy in the band, and then the party was over.
That was that party? Okay. But see, that gives you something to talk about.
It does.
But I had already...
So what you're saying is always pay someone to headbutt someone at a party.
I had already...
And everyone will have something to talk about.
I had already left at this point, so I didn't see the headbutt. But like, here's a perfect question that I think could get a conversation started. What shows are you streaming? Hey man, is anybody here watching Friends and Family on?
Yeah. Okay. So that's definitely a good one.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Kay. So that would fall under what this person. She is a conflict resolution facilitator. Her name is Priya Parker, and she calls these things magical questions.
Oh, magical questions.
Yes.
Like,
it's a question.
What was the biggest lie you ever told your wife?
No. No, it's a magical question. She says it's a question that everyone in your group is interested in answering and hearing the answer to.
You know what? These things in this situation will serve you. And also for people on dates who don't know how to have a sort of an open door question, because a lot of times people will talk about themselves when really, when we've had our mixers, ask the person you're talking to about themselves. Interview them a little bit.
Yeah.
Casey, when you do pose that question to people you don't know about streaming shows, if you start to talk about the one that you really like and they're like, no, yeah, we didn't really like that.
Well, then that's
it's a little bit of a disappointment.
It is. It is.
You know,
Well, then you're an idiot.
Yeah, that's it, right.
You're so stupid.
Moron.
You don't get it? Have you no soul?
I mean, in fact, I did this yesterday at the graduation party.
Ted Lasso? You didn't get it?
I was an observer of a conversation because I was like, I wonder how people talk. You know what I mean? Like, it can be a really awkward thing, and you're in this party.
Ask them, how do you talk?
Well, no, but I want to. At one point, they were talking about somebody's vacation, and then
I see.
Then the conversation hit this lull, and then I'm sitting in because I wasn't directly involved in the conversation. I'm like, how are they going to pull themselves out of this one?
What you're trying to avoid is that the lull point, which is often where things are asked or comments are made that are the ones that you regret.
Yeah.
So that you're in the lull moment. I guess I need to say something.
Right.
What part of you smells the worst?
Right.
That would be the butthole.
That's it.
That would be.
I guess my ass.
I guess it's my ass. I mean,
gotta be right.
I mean, if I have to answer that
Just
question,
see if you, replace that dip over there. But we've all had moments where it's felt as if we've said that, as if we've asked something as dumb as that, or you've misheard someone. But I think I would say this, Preston. Do you think it'd be valid to say that what you're, everyone feels it. Everyone, even accomplished communicators, such as all of us on the show here, quote unquote. It'll happen now and then.
So if you want to contribute, let us know what is a surefire, okay, this will get people talking question that you will throw out if you need to get people engaged. Feel free to call. 610-660-9333 is the number.
Yeah, I told you guys when we were in Italy, we did this parent-player, we were there for rugby, so we did this parent-player dinner. And so it was parents with kids that weren't their own.
Yeah, you swap.
Yeah, we swap.
Yeah, you guys are swapping on this trip.
We swap kids. But one of the...
I totally forgot which are my kids.
One of the kids at the table took the helm here and started asking questions and said, "Hey, what's your
Are you my daddy?
What's your favorite live event that you've ever been to?"
Oh, okay.
Right. So it could have even been a concert or
that's a magical question.
Is it really?
Yeah. So magical. So she says a magical question is a question everyone in your group is interested in answering and hearing answers to. Like I said, she likes asking them in group settings.
Okay, that makes sense
because they have the power to cut through small talk and reveal people's personalities, and people don't need to agree or have the same taste or experiences to answer.
I also think that if people are begrudgingly holding out, if you're in a group, It's fun to kind of, let people know what your favorite show is. So you might just dive in. Even people who are reticent to start conversing with a stranger that way.
Right.
You've given them something to talk about.
Yep. Parker, who actually authored a book in 2020 called The Art of Gathering, How We Meet and Why It Matters, explains how to develop your own magical questions. What are the qualities of a magical question? She said that they help people feel like not just a blob, but a group of individuals, and they help you know something about somebody.
I always, so for Preston, for me, a lot of times, where'd you come from today?
Yeah.
And you can start the generics. What was traffic like?
Yeah.
Do you work there?
Yeah.
So you can start building those questions based on point of origin, and so, I'd never where did you come from today? Oh, I'd never live in that hellhole.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow, you're from a
what do you
really
do for a
terrible
living?
part of town, huh?
Oh, that's a stupid job. Things like that. And then you progress to which part of you smells the worst.
That would be my ass, I guess, right?
Check on that dip.
So she says one of her favorite magical questions to ask is, what was the first concert you went to and who took you? Who is your daddy and what does he do? She said, I often ask this in team meetings or large town halls.
That's a great one. Your first concert,
Yeah.
And what was your first concert,
And
Preston?
who took you? Well, my first, technically it was Beatlemania.
Yes.
My mom took me.
Oh, I
That's
remember that,
more
yeah.
of a stage show than
Right.
a concert. But other than that, it was probably Rush.
Okay.
Signals tour.
And for me, you know what it is. I think I've mentioned many times.
I don't remember.
Band America.
Yeah.
America.
Yeah, at the Westbury Music Fair. In the round, baby.
I don't remember who I went with to that Rush show, though. Do you remember who you went with to the America show?
It was
Or who took
a
you?
date. Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, so your first concert ever was a date?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
I was 7.
Aww.
She was 31.
Wow. Let me see here. All right, so we got some people calling in with their suggestions, and we'll take those, and I'll go in and out of this conversation. But our buddy Cast Isle.
You did it again.
Iron Kyle is joining us. Yo, Kyle.
This is getting ridiculous.
I'm sorry, dude. I'll get it right one of these days. All right, so what's a magic question you like to use?
I think I'm not peeing. That's a fish tank. Let me move for a minute.
Okay, all right.
I always ask people what's the best meal you had last year, and that spurs into like a 2-hour conversation with like anybody, because they'll say we had this, and then this person will say we had that at Disney World 2 years ago, and it turns into this big thing. And I think if you talk about food, it's such a universal conversation. I mean, it's really cool, and it helps people learn, like, hey, maybe when we go to this place, we will try this or we will try that. So I think, talking about food is a very, very easy. I stay away from politics, religion, all that stuff, obviously.
Hey, have you ever had an abortion? I think. Let me ask you this, Kyle. So you're talking about that question in a group of people. Would you ask that question if you were just one-on-one with someone?
Depends how well I know them.
Right. I mean, it could, because you're like, it is. Then you could ask that. You could refine it and say, "I'm looking for a good Italian restaurant. Do you know of any in the area or something?" Because you refine it a little bit than those sort of broad survey questions, especially to one person. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if the person responds with something vegan or vegetarian, then I immediately have to go to question 2 that I'm not prepared for. So if it's one-on-one, it's tough.
Okay. All right.
I like that, Kyle. I like the food angle. Thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
The way the connoisseur resonates with everyone.
Right.
Everyone eats.
By the way, I like the idea of, hey, show of hands, who here has either had or paid for an abortion? Because you want to include the guys in on it,
Now,
too.
I don't want any of this backroom stuff.
Yeah, legitimate.
Not in the back of a van. I mean, you know who you are.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Well,
What was your favorite meal last year, Preston?
Oh, you know what? Quickly, I was trying to think of that as Kyle was saying that. It is hard to say. You know what? Probably, oh man, and I forgot the name of the restaurant, Casey. And Nick, you would know this. It's in Cape May. They serve like a Cajun cuisine.
Oh, yeah.
It's numbers. It's like, it's the address of it.
69.
No, not.
Oh.
That's a good meal, though.
It's like
everyone gets what they want.
It's like 113 or something like that. Really good. That was a fun one.
Is that right on the main drag there?
Yeah,
like near Lucky Bones, or No.
Yeah, but down further.
69 across the street from Boner.
It's actually not too far from like the Acme and everything. Over that way. But-
so good Cajun food?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, not like crazy over the top, super spicy Cajun
Right.
food. It was just
I like
really, really
black
good.
stuff, yeah.
But how about you?
Favorite meal last year? You know what, man? I don't know.
Okay.
See that if you were to dead end in that conversation, Preston, if you had asked Casey that and he says I don't know, what would you have a follow-up question?
I think
or
I do know.
I'm done with you.
I think it was the meal that we had for Carter's 21st birthday was last summer, right?
No, he's 22 now.
Fart.
Or wait a minute. Was that last year?
I thought that was last summer. We all went to. We had a giant seafood.
That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That was at Hard Rock Hotel Casino. Yeah, that was awesome.
I think so. You would say I don't know. Well, what's your favorite cuisine?
Yeah.
So what places do you frequent?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
All right, 410 Bank Street.
410 Bank Street.
That's the name of the
All
restaurant.
right.
So that was my favorite meal last year. Yeah, it was really good. Really, really good.
When you, I'm sorry to jump in here, but when you were years ago when you were dating and you were, were approaching a girl that you liked or whatever, did you have a particular series of questions that you would launch with?
No, I didn't have a good game. Really.
Yeah.
So no, I didn't have
you wouldn't use the what part of you smells bad.
No, but now I would.
Hey, Press, do you think because of what you do for a living, you're a master of ceremonies, that in these settings that I don't want to say necessarily that either A, you take it upon yourself to pose these questions, or B, other people look towards you to do this sort of stuff?
No, the only time that I will try to turn into kind of leading where we're going to go, which is kind of what I do here, is if there is an obvious break and it's weird and uncomfortable, I will kind of take host mode.
Or they're presenting a prize.
That too.
Yes,
I could do-
but someone's going to walk away with a new refrigerator, and we're going to have Preston conduct the conversation.
I'm your guy.
Yeah.
It's very different on air versus in a conversation like you were at a party, Casey. Like what we do for a living is not a normal conversation.
You know what I always, and that's true. I would say on air, we're 10% more of what we would normally be.
I'm just saying the dynamic between us in this room and the dynamic we have with our listeners is very different than all of us have when we're out and about having conversations with regular folk.
Yeah, I can see that. I find that a lot of times if I'm with a group, I'm expected to be I'm expected to be the funny guy, and I'll do that.
Right.
If it means the crowd will be happy. But a lot of times I'm just kind of observing and just enjoying hearing other people talk about their things and what they like. I enjoy that as well.
I like to observe as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of that leads to how can we talk about this on the air? As well. It does. Honestly, we're looking
They're
for
here
topics.
and no one's home.
So the magical questions can also be a jumping off point for other types of conversations. So let's say that you ask, what's a gift that you got that you deeply loved? That is a question that leads to other deeper questions. For example, what's a good gift? What creates meaning? Is it specificity? Is it empathy? What does it mean to be a generous person?
So one thing you want to do is, not saying you're being superficial, but you wouldn't lead with something like, what has left you the most unfulfilled? And, right.
No.
So you don't.
It's going to be something
right.
positive.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. Hang on. We have some other calls coming in. I'm going to go to Cindy with a conversation starter as well. Hi, Cindy. Good morning.
Hi. Good morning.
Cindy.
Cindy.
So what do you like to bring up in scenarios like this?
I will ask people what makes them nostalgic.
What makes them nostalgic? I love that.
Yeah, because it transcends age, barriers like financial barriers. We were talking about it over the weekend with my sister-in-laws, and she was talking about SpaghettiOs. She used to eat them all the time at her grandmother's house, which are gross, but if she would even see a can of those or have a mouthful of those, she would just be right back into that kitchen where she felt warm and secure and loved.
Cindy,
and yes.
Do you lead with an example when you ask that question?
Yes, and that's what I was going to say. So it's easier, I think, too, if you say, so when I was growing up, my grandparents would stop early in the morning on the weekend, and they both were cigarette smokers. And when I would smell the smell of cigarettes, I knew they were there, and I was so excited. It's such a weird tie to smoking, but
But
Yeah.
most of all, I remember the cigarettes.
My buddy Steve used to love the smell of a Zippo lighter because it smelled like, he said it reminded him of his grandmother.
Yeah.
So he would just sit there because I used to have a Zippo lighter. He would just hold it up to his nose and sniff it. Ah, Grandma.
yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's a great question.
I like that, but Steve, you're right. You have to lead in with, "Hey, man, I saw this the other day, and it was an ad for SpaghettiOs.
Yeah.
God, I used to love those as a kid. Is there anything that brings back memories like that as far as food goes?
Right.
And if you lead into
can
it
lead
that
it,
way,
yeah.
that's a good way to get things started. I like it. Thank you, Cindy. Appreciate it. What line, Casey?
Go to Kate.
All right, let's get her on next. Hi, Kate. You are on the air. Good morning.
Hey, bitches.
Hey, what? What's up, Kate?
Good morning, everybody. So I got to give a little backstory real quick. My friend's mom is known to love Kevin Bacon. That is for her everything.
Okay.
The band came out to Phoenixville. There's a picture. Her and her daughter had gone. There's a picture. She is right next to Kevin Bacon on that stage. So we ask everybody, who is your Kevin Bacon? Who's your celebrity crush? And then we compare their answers to their significant other and see if there's any similarities.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, that I love that. I love that because, you know, I don't think that's too volatile. You know, I think that's totally. Everyone has. Most people have sort of like what they call their hall pass. You know, and their crush. Who's your crush?
Mine's David Beckham.
David Beckham.
We're just talking. It's his birthday
Yes,
today.
it's his birthday. Send him something.
No, it's not his birthday. He's becoming a knight.
Yes,
that's
and
why we were talking about it.
with your night, you get a new birthday.
I always like
your
this
night.
one better. What's your weirdest crush? Like you David Beckham.
Weirdest crush?
Yeah, like you can look at David Beckham and you're like, okay, yeah, handsome, athletic guy. But is there a guy out there who maybe isn't your classically handsome dude that you're like, yeah, I crush on that guy?
I would say that I kind of fell into that, like, what was it, the rat boy trend? So the Jeremy Allen White, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the rat face.
boy. Yeah, rat
But
face.
I kind of...
No, that's completely acceptable. My wife had a massive crush on Dwight Yoakam.
I know one. For me, I've told you, Catherine Hahn.
Yeah.
Not a classic,
Yeah.
gorgeous leading model woman type. I just find her, I like her attitude. There's a sexiness about
She's
her. that I
frisky.
love.
Yeah.
She just wants to ball you up and put her in her vagina.
Yeah, that's what it is.
God, I love that scene in Step Brothers.
That says a lot about you.
Yeah. All right.
No, I love
Thank
that.
you, Kate. I like
well
that.
done,
That's-
Kate.
That's a great idea. Man. How about any of you guys?
Yeah, I'll tell you right off the bat.
Non-typical.
Octavia Spencer, man. I think she is the cutest woman.
You've said this before.
Yeah.
I can't say I disagree.
I love
She
her,
seems
yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
She seems, would you call her sexy?
I think she's sexy. I do. And in the movie Spirited with I know you weren't a huge fan.
No, I
of that.
didn't like it.
I loved her in that movie.
And so when you're talking about something like that,
Yeah.
you're opening yourself up to. But if everyone is doing it,
Yeah.
then it's kind of a level playing field. But if you have to expect oh man, really?
Well,
Wow.
and that's why, because
You know what I mean?
I think, like Ana de Armas, that's an easy answer.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I know you know. Oh my
I
God,
like it.
that's outlandish.
Yeah.
No, it's an interesting nuance
Yeah.
of taking that. Hang on a second. We're going to go next to, we're talking about magical questions that will start conversation. We're going to Ari. Ari, you're on the air, bud.
Hey guys, Gadzooks.
Gadzooks. What's up, man?
Hey, yeah, so this is not a good business icebreaker, but if you're in a small social setting, you ask them, when's the last time you guys had sex?
All right. When is the last time you had sex? That's pretty good.
Maybe refine it. When was the last time you had butt sex? Because somebody
usually it's
no.
Kind of people so off guard. They're like, oh, wow, what?
Well, see, no, I like the last time thing because I remember one time I was in a party setting and we were throwing out these questions and mine was, all right, tell us about when you lost your virginity. Okay.
Yes.
And then I was like, well, that's not always a pleasant experience for everyone.
No.
Some people have a traumatic experience. from
Nor is
that.
the last time you had sex.
Maybe.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless it's butt sex.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Or it was with Octavia Spencer.
Yeah. Was I pitching or catching in that? Can
I
you
don't
tell me?
remember.
Yeah.
I know I was on the infield.
But Ari, you've had memorable conversations by bringing that up?
Yeah. I'd say it, and then I say, mine was like a week ago, and then usually one person's like, yeah, it's been a little bit, and then it starts rolling into like, it just breaks that ice, right?
And
it starts
does.
pouring it open.
All right, I was wondering because I wonder if the sex thing might be a little bit of a minefield, but you're having good luck with it, then it works.
Yeah, depending on the setting. So,
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Ari. Appreciate it, man.
You wouldn't ask that in line at a wake.
Let's go next to Josh. Hey, Josh. Morning, bud.
Morning, guys. Shout out to YouTube.
YouTube!
What's going on, man?
So at least once a day, one of my conversations start with, so I heard on the Preston and Steve show this morning. But one of the good things for like party icebreakers is the Tattoo Tuesday. Talking about tattoos, but I was one of the ones to be lucky enough to get it in studio. So, it's a good story and kind of an opener for tattoo stories.
That's a great idea.
That is a great one because, I mean, listen, the more and more I, look around and take a good look at people, almost everybody has ink. I mean, almost everybody has got large ink, all shoulders, arms, wherever, very visible places. And it's pretty wild. And I see, people with kids. And most recently I was thinking about, 20, 30 years ago, never would have seen that.
Nope.
And it was still considered a little bit taboo. So people don't mind sharing stories about their ink and why they got it.
They like it. There's a story behind it, and they like telling where they got it, how they got it, why they got it in the first place. And so there's usually a connection between the ink and why it ended up on their body in the first place.
Or their desire to get it, or they would not get it.
Yes.
On a tangent here, on a side note, Chris Daughtry posted a video of him working out, and of course he's in ridiculously wonderful shape, but he has the full black sleeves.
Yeah, I saw that.
Right, and sort of like a Black Panther, like arrows and line. I mean, it's cool.
Okay.
The black sleeves thing to me is wild, but it sort of eliminates. It sort of eliminates any, I don't know, if you're if you're really in great shape, and he is in terrific shape, but it sort of mutes the shadows that will show how your work is coming. You know what I'm saying, Case?
I know exactly. Yeah, because I was telling you about the shadows that I have in my house. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
But I mean, isn't that cool? He has those sharp points coming down from his shoulders down towards his pecs.
It's a commitment, all right. I mean, this looks like old school, island type of tattooing where they would do these really big, dark patches all over themselves. It's pretty wild. I could never, ever do that. That's too
I have
much.
a My Little Pony on my taint.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we've all got our own little thing.
I got a monkey on my taint.
Yes, I totally forgot. How did I forget that?
But reading from this article, because we're going to have to take a break in a moment, there are more magical questions that you can ask. Here are some suggestions, like, what's a gift someone gave you that offended you? That's interesting.
Have you ever been offended by a gift?
Not that I
don't think
know
I ever
of.
have.
No.
I have.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
I'll tell you guys off air.
I know what it is, actually. What is one rule you had growing up that, looking back now, you think was totally unnecessary or even a little funny? Here's another one. What are 3 gifts you would give aliens on behalf of humanity? See, then you start to get into these.
Right. They're a little bit more.
Those are harder because you actually have to think about that.
Yeah.
But I mean, something that you have at the ready, we all know, like going back to the restaurant or the food or this milestones in someone's life you can bring up.
Yeah.
But these aren't bad.
Here's a dumb one. When was the last time you used glitter? What?
Yeah.
What?
What?
Okay, and then how about this one? When was the last time you blew up a balloon with your own mouth?
When was the last time you used Flex Seal?
Yeah. Ooh, doggy.
Doggy!
And then here's another one. What is a favorite building in your community?
What's your favorite building?
When did it become so?
How many doors do you like in your building?
Well, do you have a favorite building in Center City? Anybody?
My favorite building overall.
In the Philly skyline?
No, it's in the New York skyline. It's the Chrysler building.
Me too.
Of all time?
Absolutely.
Wow.
I love it. I
You
love
and me, buddy.
I love how chrome and shiny it is,
Yeah.
and the what's the architecture type? It's
Art Deco.
Yeah, it's Deco,
Yeah.
which I prefer, which is really cool.
So it was a Jeopardy question last week. And they put the picture up, and they thought it was the Empire State Building. I said, "You dumb! It's the Chrysler Building."
Yeah, I'll probably go with City Hall. I love Ben just kind of peeking out atop the city. I love that. Yeah.
In
You
Philly.
love who on the top of the building?
I mean, William Penn. I said Ben, but I meant William Penn. Thank you very much for catching that.
Well, his middle name was William Ben.
Yeah.
William Ben Penn.
William Ben Penn.
Yeah.
I'm trying
William
to think
Ben Lincoln Penn.
if I have a favorite Philly building or not.
All right, now you make me think.
I like the Mellon building because it's got that pyramid on the top.
Yeah, I think
that's a
that
cool
might
one.
be my fave too.
Do you know what was cool? The Masonic Temple that we went into.
Well,
that,
the
that was the
inside of that.
interior.
Yeah.
If you're talking about the outer look.
Yeah.
I do love the USB look of the Comcast building.
Yeah.
You like that?
I do.
You know what I think it looks like?
What?
I think it looks like a pack of cigarettes that somebody
cigarette?
popped one cigarette out and say, like, here, you want to smoke?
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Listen, I love Liberty One. I do.
Liberty One's great.
Yeah, Liberty One, it just symbolizes, a change to our city because for the longest time you couldn't go higher than William Penn.
Yeah. Marissa, how about you? You're the city dweller.
Actually, I'm on board with Casey. City Hall, just because as soon as you see it, it just screams Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Like
Screams you're going to be in traffic for an hour.
I love like cresting over different parts of the suburbs and like heading towards the city and seeing different areas of the skyline. Like when you're looking afar, you're like, wow, you can see it out there.
Right.
And then I like Liberty One mostly because MMR's tower is there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like the radio station is broadcasting from there.
I think we have a really nice looking skyline.
We do.
We really do. As you come in from different areas, you'll look over and you're like, that's a fine looking skyline.
Coming across the Walt Whitman.
Yeah.
I really like that view.
So back in the early 90s when Liberty One was being constructed, that was, for me, living in the burbs, you could actually see the city from the science wing of my high school.
Is that wild?
It was the third floor. You looked out the window, you're like, oh my God, there's a city. And now when you drive down Westchester Pike, like in the morning, you can see the city skyline.
A couple spots in Harleysville, you can actually see it.
Stop,
Yeah.
really?
Mhm.
Preston, when I used to come down from New York and we were working at Y100, you come across the Commodore Barry Bridge. Boom. You can see way off in the distance. Yep.
Years ago, there was a Jeopardy question, and they said, what city is the skyline from? And it was Philadelphia, and I didn't recognize it. And it was because the photo was taken from behind the art museum looking into the city. And it's just like...
Down the Parkway.
The way Rocky saw it initially.
But yeah, kind of like from Kelly Drive.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
so with the art museum in the foreground and then the city in the background,
Threw you
and
off?
I almost didn't recognize it. Well, I didn't recognize it. I got the question wrong. And so since then, I've always admired our skyline from different angles.
I tell you what, you go back to the original Rocky, the first movie,
gosh.
and when they swing around and they show it from the top of the stairs, you look at the city, you're like, whoa.
Where is Philadelphia?
Where is Philly?
Where is Because they were still adhering to that, that restriction. But
Couldn't be taller than Billy Penn's hat. Yeah.
And it's so cool to see it that way. But now, yes, I think we have a beautiful looking city.
The first 5 minutes of the movie Philadelphia, same thing when you watch it. And it doesn't seem like it's that long ago, but it's so different, the city.
All right, listen, I want to thank those who are still on hold with other magical questions. I will mention these real quick. So this was Deal or Dale. It says, do you sit or stand when wiping?
It's a good one with guys.
He says it works at the barbershop.
Yeah.
Ryan says this question, do you have vacations coming up?
That's
is
a great one.
That's a great one.
Yeah, you're taking a vacation.
And then Jim wanted to say, did you grow up in Philly? Favorite Philadelphia thing? And that's another good
as well.
local one too. So yeah, these are, listen, you can, and I have done this before. I've actually gone on and found, basic conversation starters.
Yeah.
Especially when my kids, when I was starting to hit that point where I'm like, I need more to talk to these guys about. What are some things that can help just get a real conversation started? So you can find sources like that online that are just kind of get your foot in the door.
Which parent do you love the most?
And if you do have moments where you're a little bit awkward in social settings just because you run out of things to do, a good thing to do is on your phone, like on a notes app or something like that, just jot down a list of conversation starters and you can pull out of your pocket and it's a go-to at any point in time that you might need it.
And remember, even the best of them, even the most skilled at conversation, and everyone has their moments where they're like, I don't know what to do here.
Yeah. All right. At the top of this particular segment, we made an announcement. We, the Preston and Steve Show, are returning to Hershey Park. We're going to do a live broadcast on Thursday, June 26th. And we are giving away 500 tickets to join the party. So I'm going to give away, we're going to take callers 10, 11, and 12. I'm going to give you a family 4-pack.
Yes.
All right.
It's happening again.
610-660-9333. Callers 10, 11, and 12. We are going to set you up with that, and you will get in early. You will be able to watch the broadcast and have free parking as well if you win these tickets. I mean, you're going to get in I think it's like an hour and a half before the park even opens.
Yeah, you're going to get the run of the place.
We'll find out about what rides they will have open at that time of the day. But nonetheless, we're going to be broadcasting live. It's going to be a damn good time. So let's get you on board. You can go to WMMR.com and click on events. We have the complete details and another chance to win tickets there as well. So we're happy to be back at Hershey Park Thursday, June 26th for a live broadcast. We'll be back in just a moment. Stay with us.
Preston and Steve. The island to begin with, because it's got tattoos and stuff. But it's this big, this beak on this thing. It just sits there, and it always sits there at the corner of the tank. But you're right, they're really threatening looking.
And if you've ever bitten by something small, and how bad that hurts, I can only imagine. I got bit by a hamster in college. I still, from time to time, will think of it.
You still cry?
No, I actually it gives me the chills because I'll never forget his little teeth going through my finger. I was like, oh my God.
But this thing, a snapping turtle, can take a full finger off. I mean, I told a story about where my dad lived years ago. They had a pond, and they were finding ducks and geese with their heads bitten off.
Yeah.
And they don't fly that way normally.
My brother used to put them in the pool and swim with them.
What?
He would get them from the
turtles?
He'd get them from the creek.
I think I remember you telling
And he would
me
put
that.
them in the pool and he'd swim with them. And then my mom would be like, go take them back. And he would take them out of the pool and take them back to
By the way,
creek.
everything else about the turtle is slow, but that snap is lightning fast.
Yep. I have been bitten by a swan. It didn't hurt at all. That was the only one where I was like, oh, my God, you're adorable.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
My dad had to smack a swan in his head because he went after Jace. Jace was little, and he looked at Jace like he was an enemy. And
No!
Swan! He did. He just took one hand and smacked him.
I know people who have battled with goose before.
Oh.
There was a guy that was fly fishing one time, as a friend of my dad's, and it was, because you throw it up in the air.
Yeah.
And it either caught on the goose or the goose snapped at it or something like that. But anyhow, he had to reel it in.
Oh, no.
Because it's flying in the air, and he wasn't going to give up his rod. And then when he got there and he's trying to unhook it, the thing is beating him with his wings, which are pretty formidable, and I've been snapping at him as well.
Getting back to sniping turtles real quick, I saw one in the middle of the road one time, and I tried to be a good Samaritan and get out. I stopped the car, and I tried shooing it off the road, and I got a stick, and I was sort of trying to poke at it or whatever.
Why'd you just pick it up?
Because it scared me. It was a big old snapping turtle.
Yeah.
And
if you just pick it by a shell, it won't even get its.
He's panicking.
No, I know.
No, I mean, and it was in the middle of the road, case, and so I was just trying to shoo it off of the road. But those things hiss at you.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I'm just trying to help out, buddy.
Yeah.
I hope we got run over.
Let me go to.
Well, listen, fool don't want no help.
I got Kelly on the line. Hey, Kelly, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey, what's up, Kelly?
Oh, thank
you.
Back in the late 70s, early 80s, it was a thing in Philly, apparently where I lived, where people had monkeys.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like one of those little monkeys that was on Friends.
Okay,
And
like Capuchin monkey.
Capuchin, yeah.
So my dad used to let it run around the house, and one day it was sitting on my shoulder, and he was a nasty thing. He would steal cigarettes, and he would rip up things, and he was sitting on my shoulder, and my dad said, "Oh, turn your head, he's going to kiss you." I turned my head, and he bit me.
Where did he bite you? On your face?
On my face, yeah, I have a scar.
Oh,
you have a scar from the friggin' monkey.
I'll show it to you on Friday. I'll be at Keenan.
Yes! Tell us your monkey scar, girl, and we'll showcase that.
If you have a monkey scar, come down to Keenan's. We want to see it.
Wow, Kelly, did you have to get any stitches or anything like that?
They didn't take you to the hospital back then.
Nah. Just put a piece of gum on it. Wow. All right.
I don't have any stitches.
All right. Well, we'll see you on Friday, Kelly.
Okay, perfect.
Scarface is your name from here on, by the way.
By the way, monkey's gonna monkey. It's gonna do people. And I remember people would get those things. There was a Woolworths that had a pet section when I was growing up.
Yeah.
It had a pet section, Kathy, and there was a chimp in there.
Yeah.
A chimp. I'm like, what?
I do remember like odd animals in the Woolworths section. I remember always wanting to get birds, and my mom was like, absolutely not.
Birds. They were like blue.
Yeah.
Yes.
They were nice colored birds. That's why I liked them.
Parakeets?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, they were right down from the chimps.
Finches or something.
Finches, maybe, yeah.
My friend got an alligator, and I believe he bought it legally at a place that's not even there anymore. Nick, you might remember this. Is you're driving down the Blue Route just past Broomall. There's a place called Jobu Pets.
Yeah.
And he got it.
Jobu.
Yes. And he got an alligator from Jobu Pets. What? I know, and we would be in there in his, he had a
You have any more alligators?
He had a giant aquarium in his room, and one time he decided he needed to clean the aquarium while we were all in there. I was like, dude, and they just took the thing out. Like,
had he been bitten by it?
He had.
Yeah. I'm not down with that. No.
All right, we'll go to Jen next. Hi, Jen. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, what were you bitten by?
So when I was 14 years old, I was down in the Outer Banks, and the people I was staying with thought it would be a good idea to go feed the wild horses that were underneath our house. So we bought a whole
She's talking about cave horses.
Underneath your house?
No, the wild horses in the Outer Banks.
Okay.
Yeah, but they were under your house?
Yeah, because they used to, up in Corolla, they used to roam the whole top of the island.
Okay.
Dirt horses.
They were corralled.
All right, so, and was this a house up on stilts or something?
Yeah, it's a house.
That makes sense. No, they were earth horses. They burrow into the ground.
Okay.
No, but so listen, I know for a fact that a horse bite can really F you up. So how big was the chomp?
So we joke about it because I got my first hickey from them. It was the giantest bruise on my shoulder. I got trapped between the air conditioner and the house, and the horse just wanted the apple that I had already given.
Oh, my God.
So the horse was about to kill you for an apple.
Oh, I was terrified. And then my mom, I don't know where she came from. She came out of nowhere screaming and yelling, and she luckily scared the horse away before anything else happened. But I can just remember he was walking towards me, and I turned around, and first he was like eating my ponytail.
Man, so listen, if you get, obviously we've all been in proximity to horses. Look at the size of their heads.
Oh, my God.
Look at the size of their mouths.
Yeah.
I mean, that can make some heavy damage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We just don't think about it because they're horses. They're our friends.
Thank you, Jen. Appreciate it.
Mr. Ed.
But yeah, they're the power of their jaws has got to be extreme. They could easily, bite something off if they wanted to. Let's see. We have a lot of great calls here. I will go next to. There's a lot of monkey calls, believe it or not.
Hey.
Let's go to Liam. Hi, Liam. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. You guys rock.
Thanks, Liam. All right, you have a monkey story.
Yeah. Actually, so when I was 13, I'm 28 now, but when I was 13, my family took a trip to Punta Cana, and there's a gentleman next to the pool that had a monkey on a leash, letting people take pictures with it. So my brother talked me into going over to it. It climbs up my leg onto my shoulder, smiles with me, takes a picture, climbs back down, and is holding his hand out. And I thought he wanted a little handshake. So I gave him my thumb, and he just hacked right into it.
Oh!
I want to shake your hand.
To top it off, I'm 13. What do? They take me over to the bar and just pour vodka on.
Well, that's how you respond to a monkey bite. Yeah.
So the monkey was looking for a tip, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Dude, I want money, and I'll rip your goddamn head off if you don't give me some.
And it's funny
That's
because
nasty. Thanks, Liam.
they are those monkeys that are part of tourism and the people trained for for tips and stuff like that. They get very aggressive. And I'm surprised that a lot of places where you wouldn't figure they would allow that do allow that because they can freak out at the drop of a hat.
Yeah. So we've had an ostrich bite. We've had several monkey bites. What else did we get here? We got another
horse.
Yeah. There's bird bites and all this. But how about this one? Let's go to Jessica. Hi, Jessica.
Hi, welcome.
Hey, welcome.
Welcome to you.
What's up, Jessica?
Thanks for having us over.
Thank you. We appreciate you having us on your show.
I've never
never been on the radio before.
It's all right. I say something like that on a daily
Preston,
basis. That's totally
what's the
wrong.
latest phrase?
Good morning to see you.
Preston said that, so you're absolutely
Good morning
fine,
to see you. All good, Jessica. What's up?
Welcome.
I was in Indiana, and there was a large cat rescue, and they had accidentally had baby tigers. And so for an extra like $5, you could go in and visit that with them. You know, who doesn't want to go pet a tiger?
Right.
And they were about the size of like, a big lab. So they weren't huge, but big enough that one decided like my calf looked really tasty, and it bit down on my calf.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it didn't break any skin, but it left a good bruise, and it scared the bejeebies out of me. But,
Jessica, you said it was the size of a large lab?
of like a dog.
I mean, that's a big animal. If a dog that size bites you, that's problematic. If you have one that's trained to do that, that's basically wild.
Yeah,
and
this
it
isn't
clamps down. Yeah,
this isn't a kitten. This is a young tiger. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I didn't card it, but it was definitely older than it was like an adolescent.
Yeah.
Was it able to buy alcohol?
That's pretty wild, Jessica. You have a tiger bite. That's way up there on bragging rights.
Yeah.
I like to use it in the whole 2 truths and a lie.
Yeah, totally.
Because no one believes it. I
Thank
love
you,
it.
Jessica.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Wow. Do you remember when the trainer that we knew would bring Louie in here,
Yeah.
Louie the chimpanzee? Man, I'll never forget that. He brought him in a couple times. It was really cool to be that close to a chimpanzee and hold him and so on. But he was always on guard.
Yes.
The trainer was like he didn't lighten up for a moment.
No, because he said at any moment, like he was stronger than everyone in the room.
Absolutely. And that if he were to become unhinged, we got real trouble.
And he said that, like the 3 of the children's parties, every 4th one he'd have to shoot the chimp in front of the kids.
Well, and he would bring, he would.
Get out of the way!
They would bring them to parties and things like that. We had them out.
We did too, Kat.
And how it eventually ended. I don't remember if it was Louie or I think he had Mikey too. Yeah. But they got out of their. All he would say was they got out of their cage and they had to send them to zoos.
Yeah.
Well, he brought in one time a cub, a bear cub.
Oh yeah.
And it was my wife, the bear cub fell asleep. Claire came in, my wife, just because she couldn't believe it. And I said, you got to get a chance to pet a bear cub. The bear cub fell asleep on her lap. She was sitting on the floor. Those spikes on that that's a bear cub. Yeah. Those things look like Wolverine. Yeah. It doesn't have anything on these friggin' things. It was unbelievable.
So, did you guys see the movie Nope by any chance?
Yes.
Because there's like an underlying theme of a chimp like going crazy. It's terrifying because, it was a fictional thing in the movie, but
it's not inaccurate.
What that thing did, it could, that could have happened in here.
Looking back on Louie and Mikey, like they were cute when they were here, but I'm
not a great idea.
No, it was not smart. Like they're wild animals, and they shouldn't be kept in cages like that.
We also had the white Bengal tigers. Remember that?
Yep. Yep. That was well before Tiger King came out, and we didn't realize that any yokel could walk around with.
The possum bowl doesn't seem so bad now, does it?
Yeah. Right. Let me see here. Okay, since we did mention snapping turtles, we got to go to Tom here real quick. Hey, Tom, morning, bud.
Good morning to see you.
Yes, very good. Good morning to see you. Good morning, welcome. What's up, Tom?
Yeah, I used to go camping a lot when I was younger, and I would always bring a friend. And this one friend, he was like huge into reptiles. He always had, snakes, lizards, turtles, and all that kind of stuff. So there was always like little kind of sitting ponds around. There was always frogs, snakes, turtles, and stuff. So we would go looking. And one time we didn't see this thing, but a huge snapper out of nowhere bit him on his ankle.
Snapper.
And it like ripped the vein out. Like a mile away from the campsite, we had to run back, and I'm a fat boy, so it sucked. It was bad.
Did you guys have to wrap a tourniquet around him or anything?
Once we got back.
Wow.
It took probably 20 minutes to get back
Oh,
to
my
the campsite. But he needed stitches. I think he got 8 stitches.
Dude, that's why one of the things that you see the lunatics. There's a guy who had I think a TV show. He's had not a tooth in his mouth, but he would go into the murky, muddy water.
Yes.
And apparently snapping turtles make for great turtle soup or whatever. So he just reaches his arms down in this brown muck and like pulls out snapping turtles. Yeah. And I it was almost too tense to watch the damn show.
Thanks, Tom. That's messed up. All right, here. This might be most exotic bite. I know we had tiger and ostrich and a few other things, but this is my sister got bit by a chick.
3 WMMR.
All right, thank you very much, Marissa. Ricky Bo is hanging out in our Acme Lounge. We're going to get him in here in just a moment. Got a new show on our sister station, and the Phils just had a tough little run there for a moment.
Yeah, but he's all smiles. He's thrilled with what's going on.
Yeah, we'll talk to him in a few. And then later on this morning, our buddy Steve-O is going to be joining us. So let's get to the B-File.
WMMR presents Preston and Steve's Bizarre File.
All right, brought to you by Pro Team Collision. If you find yourself in an accident, trust the pros. Pro Team Collision, your trusted auto body repair shop located in King of Prussia. You can go to ProTeamCollision.com. All right, I'm going to leave with a story that I saw actually this morning. Several people received medical treatment after a skydiving plane with 20 passengers on board and crew crashed in Coffee County, Tennessee, about 60 miles south of Nashville. Dude, and everybody is fine.
Which is amazing.
That very rarely happens.
Wow.
3 people, there were injuries. 3 people were airlifted to the hospital for medical treatment. 1 person with serious injuries transported by ground. But other than minor injuries, they were treated by first responders at the scene. Nobody died in this crash. They were headed into the Tullahoma Regional Airport. No one on the ground was injured either. Highway Patrol video shows damage of the plane's tail, which appeared to have broken off, along with other parts of the aircraft. I mean, like it's in pieces on the ground. Yellow caution tape was seen in the video, which was blocking off the area as the plane came to rest while officials investigate the scene. So the FAA is investigating the crash. But that's rare when you see something like this. And nobody was killed in that.
You know, I'm looking at the fuselage, and if you were to take the wings and the tail and the engines off, if you could put that on wheels, you could just drive the people.
You could.
Yeah.
Yes,
if they had something like that, like a bus.
Real quick, speaking of skydiving, and I didn't even know that this existed, and you guys obviously know what wingsuits are.
Yes.
But I saw these people were doing, literally, they were flying on like a magic carpet ride. They would base jump with a rug and see how far they could wingsuit.
So those things exist.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, they're falling.
Yeah,
but they're,
you're not saying give like wingsuits to everyone in the plane, right?
No.
So is it a type of a carpet?
It is an actual carpet that they are on.
And then they're using that as a sort of wingsuit. That's pretty awesome. We're looking at video of it.
But if you were to lose...
insane, but it's cool.
They have a parachute, too.
Right, but if you were to lose the carpet, is that they're still the wingsuit, or are they one and the same?
They're not wearing a wingsuit, I don't think.
Anyway,
I got bizarre file stories to share with you. The TSA is expressing frustrations with travelers who are not providing proper real ID to fly. In a Facebook post on Wednesday, the TSA made it known that a Costco membership card is not acceptable identification.
Wait a second. That's how I got my gun.
So they wrote, "We love hot dogs and rotisserie chickens as much as the next person, but please stop telling people that their Costco card counts as a real ID because it obviously does not." So
Preston, I was applying to the Secret Service and they asked for my Costco card.
So listen, maybe it has started to spread on social media that you can use it and people bought. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. But starting on this past May 7th, most adults catching a flight in the U.S. are now required to present either a passport or an upgraded identification card that meets the federal Real ID standards.
Just head down to the DMV. You're out in 6 hours.
In most cases, Real IDs are designated with a white star and a yellow circle, and they've been around for years at the DMV, but people who didn't get one by May 7th can still apply. But don't use your Costco card as your ID.
How would you even assume that?
An unwelcome visitor made its way into a local retirement community this week, but the visitor wasn't a person. It was actually a black bear. Steve, it went inside of the retirement home. The black bear.
This is going to be easy pickings.
Don't worry about renewing your medication, Grandma. It ends tonight.
So the bear broke into St. Andrews Village after 11 p.m. Tuesday night. Charlene Elliott
this is grisly.
was one of the lead certified nursing assistants working. Said, I was sitting there at a nurse's station and I heard a big crash. I thought it was one of the aides that fell, and I got up and I saw it was a bear coming down the hall towards me. Pictures show how the black bear got in. There are visible claw marks on a windowsill, and in another picture, shattered glass from a broken window. She said, going through my mind was, get that thing out of here. The bear was inside St. Andrews Village for about 15 minutes and was running through the hallways. She said, I told them to shut all the doors, get all the doors shut. The bear even went into some residential rooms, getting nose to nose with one of them in bed. Elliot recalled telling the residents, please don't move, don't touch him, because he could have mauled you.
Arthur, is that you?
So she said one resident wanted to feed it a sandwich. And she was like, well, go ahead and give it my sandwich. And I'm like, no, we can't do that.
It's a bear.
But employees did use food, Rice Krispie treats to be exact, to lure the bear out of the building.
Never get me.
Chubby bear with a furry little tail.
Elliot said that they also used a walker to hit the bear and move it towards the door.
Man, that's a ballsy move.
Yeah, the Pennsylvania Game Commission set up a trap using donuts and other pastries and were able to catch the bear on Thursday morning. The Game Commission said that it's rare for bears to enter buildings, but it can happen.
It's a rare bear.
They said to make sure that no food waste and garbage outside of your home is there so that a bear can get into it, and make sure that you regularly clean your grill as well, because they will go after that.
That's a good point.
All right, here's a pretty wild story. A couple in Virginia say that a Starbucks worker refused to help them during a medical emergency because they did not wait in line. Kevin Key is in stage 4 kidney failure. He and his wife, Nelissa, were at an entertainment district in Richmond, Virginia, and they were there for a comedy show. But suddenly Kevin Key began having a scary medical episode. She said he was sweating, and he said, I don't feel well. And he started leaning over, and then he started vomiting. His wife has seen him go through one of these episodes before and knew that the only thing that would help him at that moment was ice water. She said, I was frantic. I was crying at that point. She immediately saw a nearby Starbucks in the entertainment district, ran inside the coffee shop. Despite the long line, she explained to the customers that her husband was having a medical emergency and needed water. She said everyone waiting in line was sympathetic to her situation and allowed her to go straight to the drink pickup counter, but she didn't expect the barista's response. She said, I pointed back because you could see Kevin. And I was like, that's my husband right there. He's in stage 4 kidney failure. I just need water fast for him. And the employee looked at me and was like, you need to get in line.
Oh, my God.
And then I repeated what I said. I'm like, but my husband, he's in kidney failure. We need ice water quickly. And he looked at me again and was like, you need to get in line.
Wow, man. That's cold.
Kevin couldn't believe Starbucks would allow his wife to wouldn't allow him to get her a cup of water.
Now, if he's having a cardiac issue, I can give him a latte.
A situation that should have taken less than probably 10 seconds to get water turned into a nightmare instantly. He said, I could have possibly blacked out. I could have had a more dramatic impact on my body. My kidneys could have possibly shut down. So Capital One Cafe, located directly opposite Starbucks, was the saving grace of the day. After being turned away at Starbucks, Melissa said she went into Capital One Cafe. The employee quickly acted and got her the ice water.
That's pretty wild, man.
She said, I walked in and Emma, the employee, was standing there. I told her the same thing. She acted fast. And Kevin got to meet Emma weeks later and thanked her for being a caring human being. Sam Jeffries with Starbucks Media Relations said, we've been in touch with this customer over the past few weeks to listen, apologize, and make this right. We hope to welcome them back to a store of their choice to give them the Starbucks experience that they should expect.
You mean like not dying?
Oh, they gave her a gift card, by the way, but Melissa says
that's worth $10.
They should take accountability because they did not. But the good news, though, Kevin finally found a kidney match in his sister-in-law, and he is set to undergo a kidney transplant in July.
There you go.
Good story ending, and there you go. That's what I have in the bizarre file for you this morning. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Hey, just to reiterate an announcement we had earlier, we're returning to a place we haven't been to in years for a live broadcast. The Preston and Steve Show will be broadcasting at Hershey Park.
Always some of our favorite broadcasts.
Thursday, June 26th, we will be giving away 500 tickets for you to join the party. You know what? I'll give away a 4-pack right now.
You crazy bastard.
Caller number 15, 610-660-9333. We're going to set you up that way. You will get early admission into the park to watch the broadcast and free parking as well. If you go to WMMR.com and you click on the events, there's another shot for you to win tickets there too and all the details of the event. But Hershey's got an epic 15 coasters that make up the largest collection in the Northeast, and you can get ready for the all-new Twizzlers Twisted Gravity, world's tallest screamin' swing. But that is coming up, and we'll take that caller now, and we'll set you up with the 4-pack. We'll be back in just a moment. Rick Bowe's going to be here. Stay put.
Preston and Steve.
Okay. At Funimals in Westchester.
Oh, my God.
Funimals. As a kid, and still hates those cute little balls of fluff to this day. She asked for it, though. She stuck her finger in the cage.
Okay.
I got bit by a chinchilla.
Well, you see it all the time where people say, "Don't put your fingers in the cage," or if you get like a little like a behind the scenes or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I got kind of reprimanded. I've told this story before. Sorry to interrupt.
No.
But my junior high Spanish teacher, Mr. Huddleston, did some wildlife work with the St. Louis Zoo, and he would foster some of these animals. And when he had facilities where he could keep them,
Like
in his,
big cats, right?
Yeah, he could keep
getting
them.
killed by
So
one, right?
but anyhow, he brought in he had a mountain lion in it was a kitten. It was a baby mountain lion in a carry case, and he came walking up to the school. I'm like, no way! Oh my God! And I stuck my finger in there, and he's like, don't do that. That thing will bite it off. He's
Right.
like, whatever you're doing, do it. And yeah, he was killed by a leopard in his backyard.
So that shows you how good, however good you. I mean, they are wild animals.
Yeah.
You know, you have to remember that. I was at the Philadelphia Zoo here, and we were back. They had an armadillo. I didn't realize this, but the larger armadillos, the kind you might find out in Texas, when they ball up, if your finger gets caught in that, it can break your finger.
Yeah, and those shells, whatever those things are.
The armor.
The bands.
The armor and the armadillo.
All right, we need to take a break. We're actually going to talk to a bite victim in a little while. Maggie, who's a sharp bite victim, is going to be joining us. But real quick, I want to go. Somebody was on hold for a long, long time, and they just hung up. Never mind.
Well,
Sorry
don't worry
that.
about it because we have a picture with a snake wearing a helmet.
And we got smoking snakes.
Yeah.
And they have an Uber Eats thing on the back.
That is one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
We'll share this on our socials.
That's wonderful.
That's phenomenal.
All snakes really should have helmets.
Yes.
What if they take a spill?
Yeah, for safety purposes.
All right. Well, anyhow, thank you for sharing the stories. We appreciate it. And like I said, we'll get Maggie on in a little while, who's a shark bite victim in Stone Harbor.
Yeah.
So we'll get her on in a bit. But let's take a break and come back in a second. We'll get into the bizarre file when we return. Stay with us. By the way, Northeast High School, you're up for coolest teacher. Make sure you let us know who the coolest teacher of the year has been. Text word teacher to 39333 if you go to Northeast, and we'll send you the voting link. We'll be back in a moment.
Is it Katie Kane?
Katie Kane.
Looks like Candy Cane.
Yeah.
And I like Candy Cane. Happy birthday, you.
And then a shirt?
Yeah.
Ooh. Sorry about that. I had the black bean soup.
Okay. All right. So happy birthday, Katie. All right. So I want to go back to the story we had in the bizarre file. Is it Mykonos? Is that how you pronounce it, Kathy?
Yeah.
It's in Greece?
Yes.
Okay.
It's in Greek, Preston.
It's in Greek.
Yeah.
So a mother and daughter were there. They went to a restaurant. They were kind of talked into hanging out in this particular area of the restaurant, which is a sun deck that they have, and they sat at these chairs. And
It's apparently a popular location.
It's
Yeah,
supposed
it's
to
a
be
very touristy city.
real beautiful view, right?
It's gorgeous. This doesn't surprise me though. Like a lot of the places seem to be a little bit like this, where you
Okay.
pay $600 for two
They're
drinks.
predatory, right?
Yeah, it seemed like
right.
so. They eventually they were kind of nudged into ordering some food or anyway.
2 mojitos.
Two mojitos and 2 crab legs, like just 2 crab legs.
Two.
Not 2 orders of crab
Are you
legs,
even
2
full after
legs.
that?
Right.
They were king crab legs. They are.
They're big.
In their defense, they are the big crab legs.
Yeah.
But they were charged like $640 or 600 euros for that, or they were going to call the cops on them.
They were threatened literally with that, with not being able to leave the country. Now, I'm sure, no matter what,
that wouldn't happen.
No matter what the story is, that kind of predatory stuff will happen, as you were saying, Kathy. If you looked at the history of this place, the reviews are replete with
It's a
all
scam.
sorts.
Are they?
Yeah.
It's it's one of those
It's a
scams.
scam.
Get in here, come on in here. Oh, we're going to take care of you, and then at the end, oh yeah, here's the bill.
Oh wait, so is this place is known for like bills like this?
It's now known amongst on the travel, like the TripAdvisors and stuff like that. It had that reputation. Now, mind you, it's a nice place, and everyone agrees the food and everything is quite good. However, 2 drinks, 2 crab legs,
Well, Yeah.
$600.
My experience was a little bit different. In London, we ordered 2 martinis, and I forget what vodka we ordered, but it was because it was imported. It was we paid $40 for each drink, so it was like, or I think it was it was about an $80 bill for 2 drinks.
Did they wrangle? Did they wrangle you into it?
No, they didn't wrangle. We just
were
ordered.
the prices listed? Obviously,
No, we just they were like, what type of vodka, and we named it, and I forget what it was. And then
give me the $40 kind.
Well, obviously we questioned it after, and they were like, "Well, it's so and so vodka."
Yeah.
And we were like, "Yeah." They're like, "Well, you're not in the United States,
Yeah,
so
it's like Tito's or something
like
you
whatever
just
it
you
was.
would get here
And
stateside. You
we
know,
had no idea, so we ended up paying $80 for 2 drinks.
I mean, I've already told the story on the air before, but the when I had we were in that suite at the Eagles game, and I ordered wings.
Yeah.
And what I didn't know is I was basically ordering catering wings. And not only that, but like beers. I mean, we had so much beer. We were
Didn't you
handing
order
it out.
three.
That was a mistake, though.
Servings or whatever it was.
Yeah, that is a mistake. And what I'm curious about is if you do make a mistake like that, and it is a legitimate mistake, and before, say it comes and you're like, oh, I didn't know. I am sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Will they sometimes go,
well, so even so it was a mistake, but not only that, but the menu had prices on it, but even the prices were kind of written in a way that it made it look like it wasn't $500. You know what I mean? It was like, it was like $5 wings or something.
What was the
along
final
those-
bill?
It was over $1,000.
Yeah, Casey had ordered off the catering menu.
I mean, they brought out, because I had ordered 2 orders of wings, and they were like, well, why don't we just bring out 1 order? They said
$1,000.
Yeah. Wow, 2 orders.
And did you
That hasn't
refuse
happened
and
here
say
in
no?
5 or 6 years. We haven't seen anybody. do
Well, so that's the thing. They were like, why don't we bring out 1 orders, and if you need any more, we can bring out more, because there was only 5 of us in this entire suite. I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. And when they brought out that 1 order of wings, and it was in a giant chafing dish, I was like, oh, yeah, we don't need all of these. And then they're bringing out, when we ordered like a beer, they brought out a bucket of beer.
Did you pay the bill?
So we were able to talk them down a little bit, and so the manager had to come out, and I said, listen, the way this is written on the menu, it makes it, I thought this was $10.
Put your mother on the phone.
Preston, so the name of this place in Mykonos is called the DK Oyster Bar.
Yes.
And I brought up, and you mentioned in the B file, the people go to TripAdvisor to rip on this place. They do. And so I want you, Preston, to just read these as I scroll through. All
right, the top one
reviews.
is the one from the story I just recounted. Here's another one. A scam waiting to happen on the unsuspecting masses of vacationers heading their way. The waiters tried selling us food. Each kept giving us different prices. We kept to drinks after hearing about the bad reviews. Another one says, I went to this place on a family vacation and was left horrified and ripped off. Asked several times for the prices. The waiters kept telling me it was cheap and not to worry. The bill was over 400 euros for a couple of badly made drinks.
I mean, it's 1 star after 1 star after 1 star. I feel robbed.
The
So
waiters
that's the
and staff
scam.
are extremely intimidating, especially when questioning the bill. These people are a bunch of scam artists. I really wish I read more reviews before coming here. Wow. This one says, we were lured to dine at their restaurant by friendly, pushy waiters offering us comfort in the sun.
Oh, so this is a full-on.
Yeah, we were then pushed into ordering food from menus without prices, but the waiters seemed so energetic, smiling, and patient that we felt obliged not to be a nuisance. Long story short, we, a family of 6, paid almost as much for this one meal of our vacation as we did the entire hotel stay of 5 days.
Jesus.
And I can't see how the prices they charge are warranted. I'll never be coaxed off of the beach again into any establishment without reading the reviews first.
Anytime somebody's like forceful like that,
Yes.
something's
I don't
gonna
like that
happen.
approach. I hate that approach. I never get suckered in on that crap.
My sister and I went to Paris. I was only 18 years old, and she was she's 4 years older than me, and there were high pressure people on the street, trying to get you into places,
Into these various places, yeah.
One of them was live sex on stage. I kid you not, I was in the red light district, live sex on stage, and I go, dude, and this guy spoke English, and he thought, oh, you guys are Americans, wow. So he really started giving us the hard sell, and I go, dude, it's my sister.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah, no thanks.
going to.
No thanks.
Come on, man. You got to just come on in.
This
you
is a
know?
good way to bond with your sister. You watch a 69 on stage. Or Swiss Nerf.
Las Ramblas in Barcelona is a little bit like that, where they're coaxing you into the different restaurants and stuff like that. But I ordered, if you go to a good restaurant or not, a place that's not going to scam you, I ordered a bottle of champagne, and the guy, the price wasn't on the menu, one of those. And
Be leery when there's no price that you can see written down.
But a lot of times they don't list the prices, and I had it before, and it wasn't like some astronomical bottle. But the guy came over and he said, "I just want to let you know." This whatever version of what it was like $400. He said, so I just want to make sure you know what you're ordering. That's what a good restaurant's going to do. And that's when I was like, okay, no, thank you. I thought it was the regular bottle.
Then you go, did you look like I can? Do I look like I can't afford a $400 bottle of wine?
I must look like some sort of hooker.
No, I was like, you're right. I'm not paying $400 for a bottle of champagne.
Casey, when they brought out the $1,000 plus, did you say, how much without the buffalo sauce?
Well, here, going to Casey's story, Jessica has one similar. Hi, Jessica. Good morning.
Good morning. I just wanted to tell Casey, don't stress out, because I did the same thing. We went to Disney.
3 WMMR.
Thank you very much, Marissa. Our next guest is starting a new show today, actually, on our sister station, 97.5, The Fanatic, and it is called Unfiltered.
I like that.
Unfiltered with Ricky Bo and Bill Colarulo. Please welcome Rick Batalico.
What's up, guys?
To our show. Good to see you, man.
What's going on?
You're looking kind of fit and trim. I haven't seen you in a little bit.
I've lost a ton of weight in
Good
about
for you.
just over 2 months.
Nice.
I had a funny story about it, though. I thought I had an ear infection. It was over 2 months ago. It was still cold out.
Right.
And, you're wearing jackets and hoodies and this and that and work boots. I go to the walk-in. She checks my ear. They got to put your weight up.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking that I'm sitting here with about 8 pounds of clothes on. Not even thinking about it. And then she shows, you get on the scale, you look at the weight. I was like, oh, crap. This has got to stop.
Yeah.
And on that day, I just started eating a lot better. Casey was asking me, what did you do? I said, not a lot. Literally cut down on bad foods.
Right.
Like ice cream.
You're not eating a gallon of ice cream every night?
I would. But let me put it, that was I was a lush with that. If you give me a gallon, if you put an ice cream container in me.
You'd wake up with a pint next year?
No, it would be gone. It would be gone well before that, and thinking about running to the store to get another one.
I got my act together the first of the year, Ricky, and I ended up losing about 28 pounds or so. And Chuck D'Amico, our program director, his wife, I saw her the other day. She's like, okay, what'd you do? And I'm like, diet and exercise, and she looked at him. She just goes, "Oh man,
I do like a ton of walking now."
Yeah,
and it's funny because I didn't think anything of it, and I was told by a nutritionist, "Why are you running? You're just beating up your joints. Why not just walk?"
Yeah,
this is a dumbass because I don't feel it. This is a dumbass question, but when you're a professional athlete, is it easy to stay in shape because you have to work every day to do your job? You mean when you're playing? Yeah, when you're playing, it's easy. Right. That's what I mean.
because
you get I was in the stadium by 2:00 in the afternoon.
Right.
So for a 7:00 game, I would do right when I get there. I'd get warmed up, get stretched, go and do my cardio right there.
Right.
And then whatever weightlifting day I was on, I would do that.
And then when that stops, I assume that it's
you
pretty
don't
easy
want to do it anymore.
Right. And so you can probably put on the weight pretty easily.
Well, yeah, I think you get to a point where you're like, oh, all right, I've had enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked out every day for 20 years. I think I'm done with this.
Well, when you set when you set the foundation, and like long term, like bodybuilders or people who do, they'll do you build the foundation, and then people be surprised to see just kind of basic serviceable exercises that they're doing. They're not curling cars, and then you can sort of maintain that way. And you're right about the walking.
Yep.
The walking, if you do a decent walk, you're going to have the same sort of caloric impact as you would if you were running.
And it's better for your body.
It's better for your body.
I mean, to me, it's kind of. It's my time of day now to just kind of relax. It's weird. I will just.
Do you wave to the neighbors? And
I get a lot. I get a lot of that because I'll walk through areas that are populated, and it's like, oh, aren't you? Come on, you get to a point where like, yes, I am. What do you need?
Yeah, that's why you walk to those areas.
Yeah.
Right?
Listen, I want to ask you something, Ricky, because Casey said something the other day, and with you coming on to talk about the new show and everything, I thought this would be a nice conversation to have. But he had said something the other day along the lines of, so Ricky's going to come on. He's like, you know what I realized the other day is Rick Batalico is a friend of mine. And, this guy is a professional baseball player, a guy that I used to watch.
This is somebody that I paid money to go watch play.
That's your own fault.
Yeah. And it made me...
You're not getting a refund.
It made me think of this. So there's a great scene in Bull Durham where Crash is talking about being in the show. And I'm going to play this clip real quick. So here we go.
I was in the show for 21 days once. 21 greatest days of my life. You never handle your luggage in the show. Somebody else carries your bags. It's great. You hit white balls for batting practice. Ballparks are like cathedrals. The hotels all have room service. And the women all have long legs and brains. They're really hot, huh? Yeah, and so are the pitchers.
So I wanted to ask you, as a professional baseball player, and that grandeur of being in the elite of the world, is it as cool as your standard everyday people think it is?
Yes.
Okay.
It really, you're staying in 4 or 5-star hotels every single night, wherever you go. Your flights are just you and the team. And it's a little different, I guess, because you're flying a lot late at night.
Yeah.
You're getting in late to places. I will say this much. It is always first class. I know nowadays it's even more so.
Right.
Yeah.
We didn't have our own chefs back then. Everything was kind of catered in to the clubhouses. Now,
really?
I'm not going to lie to you that the Citizens Bank Park, their visiting clubhouse, has the best cheesesteaks in Philadelphia.
Yeah, we were reading an article about the big secret about the best cheesesteaks in Philadelphia are there.
Yep. And nowadays, they get tomahawk steaks for dinner and you name it. They had one up in the press box the other day. They gave it to Tom and Ruben when they were up there, but I happened to be there, so I walked in there. I wanted some steak.
Right.
So I walked in there. Tom's like, just take it, and unbelievable.
So, because it's an interesting dichotomy, because you guys are being pampered and treated well, but you're probably also working harder than you ever have in your life as far as the sport is concerned. And now, with people that are there to train you, but you have to put in the sweat and you've got to earn that.
You have to. Well, I wasn't like a high pick either. So I was one of those guys who had to earn it from day one. Day one, I literally became a prospect on day one. I was lucky enough because my thought process was I'm looking at these guys on my own team.
Yeah.
And they suck. Pitching wise, I'm like, wait a minute, this guy's starting the game, and I'm sitting in the bullpen saying to myself, how did I not get drafted?
Yeah.
So I get in the game, and I could see the coaches like, holy cow, who is this guy?
Yeah.
And the first guy I faced was Dimitri Young, who back then was a number 1 pick of the Cardinals.
Okay.
3 pitches, struck him out.
No kidding.
Next guy behind him was also a number 1 pick, 3 pitches. So the first 2 batters I faced were number 1 picks, and I struck them out on 3 pitches each.
Nice.
So I went from literally a beer league guy to, oh man, get this guy a jacket, make sure he keeps his arm warm. It was pretty unbelievable how quickly you can make a jump.
Because you're in it to the level Preston was talking about, and obviously so much of what you're doing is based on your physicality and staying in prime shape. Are you able to appreciate it, or is it always a product of retrospect that allows you to appreciate what you had?
Did I appreciate playing? Yes.
Yeah.
Did I appreciate being in the big leagues all the time? No.
Okay.
Because, it sounds interesting. I love being there, and you love playing it. My job was a little different than enjoyable all the time.
Right.
Being a closer.
As a closer?
Being a closer, there was always pressure. There was always people breathing down to your neck. You always had to talk to the press, not like today.
Right.
They take a lot of pressure off of these guys for not having to talk to the press anymore.
Right.
And I think every day was like, I could go 10 in a row in saves. You get that one blown save, and you knew the weight of the team was on you, the weight of the city was on you.
Yeah.
And to me, I took it hard.
Okay.
I didn't. So it was, and going to city, it's funny. People say, "Well, you've been to all these cities." I didn't see enough of them.
Right.
I didn't take the time to enjoy what I was doing, and that bothers me.
Okay. So as a player who had to answer for your actions on the field. And now, as a commentator, do you find yourself to be more critical of pitchers, of fielders, of batters, or of management?
Players in general.
Just players in general.
Players in
Because,
general.
like,
because I don't think they take responsibility, a lot of them, sometimes this year. There are guys. Bryce Harper, responsibility guy. Nick Castellanos, responsibility guy. There are guys that do it, but then there's guys that'll go out there and have a terrible week, and you'll never hear from them.
Right. I mean, I think I was asking more specifically about the pitchers because...
I mean, I know pitching better than I do hitting.
Right.
I mean,
right.
I'm not going to lie to you, but
when you watch a guy walk a dude on 4 straight pitches and you're like, dude, just put it over the plate.
Well, I don't like their thought process anymore because it'll be a 6-run game and these guys are throwing breaking balls in a hole at bat where where you're up 6 runs. Why?
Okay.
You're so worried about your ERA or your statistics. That's the problem.
Ricky, I've been to 5 games this season, and my record is 1-4, so I apologize. Yeah, I sure am. The last game that I went to was probably the worst Phillies game I can remember in my life. It was the Luzardo game where it was 17-1, and they ended up losing 17-7, and then he came out in his next start. He crapped the bed again. This guy has been a stud for us all season, and then the last 2 starts, completely different pitcher. Any idea what the hell's going on with this guy?
Here's the issue. They're saying he's tipping his pitches. You know who I blame for that? The Phillies coaching staff.
Yeah?
And all these people that they bring in, because where are the eyes? Where are the eyes? Where's Caleb Cotham saying, ooh, I see something he's doing? You know why they make that up or say that is so there's an excuse built in.
Right.
Just in case he starts to. He's going to be fine.
Okay.
I think it's one of those things where he's hit a rut, and mentally when you get in those ruts, you start thinking bad things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure we've all been there. We've all thought that way, and then things snowball on you, and you can't stop it.
In his last start, I got a text from my brother Adam, and this is a no context text. And he just wrote, "What is wrong with Jesus?" And I thought it was a setup to. I thought it was a joke. I was like, "What's the punchline here?" No, it was, "What's wrong with Jesus?"
Jesus.
Completely misunderstood the intent of that question.
So you were crucified.
In all honesty, I think it's simple. I think he's throwing the ball down the middle of the plate.
Really?
I think it's that easy.
And that's what makes this in general so frustrating. The sport, especially in baseball, we go through that roller coaster. I see Nick and Casey having cerebral hemorrhages, and then in the throes of joy, back and forth. It's what the sport does to you.
Yeah.
So I want to ask this with Unfiltered and what you're doing and the approach. Do you is there sort of a high concept to how you want to mount this show? Because you've been a veteran at this for a while. What do you want to bring new to this show?
I think the biggest thing we bring is it's unfiltered is a word. I think it's more explains who I am.
Okay.
And I think there's going to be more of that, and not just in baseball. I think it's going to be in all different sports. And Bill's like the one who's always so dedicated to his notepad. I mean, you've all heard of the Ray Didinger thing with his yellow notepad. Bill's the exact same way.
He's got his little legal pad.
Oh, he will have his legal pad. He will have his notes. And Bill could get a little wild, too. I think the show is going to be a little bit more crazy than any other show I've been on, which to me it's right up my alley.
At any point, do you ever, to Casey's earlier question about who you're harder on, do you take a running inventory of rants and or responses and say maybe it's time to direct this to somebody else, or are you literally off the cuff in the moment? I'm just going for
I'm very off the cuff.
Okay.
I mean, on TV, I have no script.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, and it's funny because I was talking to Michael Barkan yesterday. I did a breakdown for, I forgot who it even was because we do so many of them. But I was up at the board. I didn't know what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I'm up there for 4 minutes. I didn't know what I was going to say. I just started and it keeps going.
You got to have confidence in yourself and confidence in your knowledge of the game. And
and I think it just you just go up there, kind of be yourself. Yeah. If you can't be yourself, you'll never do anything well. I think in life.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Well, to Steve's point, 2 weeks ago, this Phillies team was going to win the World Series in my brain, and then they had won, I think, 11 of 12, and now they've lost 9 of the last 10.
Don't fall off of that.
I won't, but here's what I was going to say. I love watching post-game when you're angry, which is lately a lot, and 3 of the last 5 games, they've lost 2-1. So those are close games. They could have won any of those games, but the offense has just disappeared. And I know Harper is a part of that because he's been hurt. He's been out of the lineup a bunch. And it is a long season, as the cliche goes. But what's going on with the offense?
Well, they are 1-6 without Well, 1-7 now without Bryce Harper, which is pretty sad considering. I mean, consider this. They have Nick Castellanos making, what, $25 million? Trey Turner making $30 million. JT's making over $20 million. Schwarber's making over $20 million. That should be enough.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? And it's odd because Castellanos and Turner have both come out and said, we're not the same team without Harper. Well, no kidding, number one.
Yeah.
But why can't you guys pick up that slack?
You should be able to. Yeah.
That bothers me because other teams do not have 4 and 5 guys that should be making differences in a baseball game.
It just seems like when one is off, they're all off, and when one is on, they're all on. Like, it's just, wow. Now, listen, let's not take anything away from Skeens. Dude,
he's good.
Yeah.
I wasn't mad. You can't be mad about Sunday's game.
Yeah.
You can't be because that's the best pitcher in baseball right now.
Right. And then also, the guy who is a Gold Glove caliber second baseman is the one who, allowed that run to come in the 8th inning or whatever. But, and that's not normal. But
yeah. Stott's falling apart.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
It's a mental game.
Why'd you just laugh?
Well, I mean, you don't know it, but it's a mental game. It's like with golf. Like even the best golfers,
Yeah, you get into a spot where everything's good. That's the same thing with Luzardo. I was just asked about Luzardo. It's the same thing. He's got himself into a bad position and he can't get out of it.
Did you ever get the yips?
Golf, yes.
Okay.
Baseball, no. I did have one time that I was out on the mountain. There were a bunch of guys getting that, what is it, Bill Blass thing where they couldn't throw the ball to home plate. Or Steve Blass.
Yeah.
Couldn't throw the ball to home plate. And I remember going 3 balls, no strikes one night. And I'm like, my mind starts going, you can't throw a strike anymore. You can't. And I'm like, uh-oh. Next pitch, I threw a strike. So I was all right after. I would have thrown that one to the backstop.
How do you get yourself out of, since obviously you haven't had to deal with it a lot.
Yeah.
But how did you keep yourself, was it just massive amounts of discipline that kept you focused? Or were you able to take a more cavalier, it will happen?
I think you take it, it will happen. But back then, I was on, 12 one-year contracts. I never got a multi-year deal in the big leagues.
1-year
contracts.
That's wild.
Well, I got injured at the wrong time twice.
Sounds like our early days of
having
radio.
Good years, boom, injury. And then my elbow, here was the biggest thing that I had to go through. I had elbow surgery, and the Phillies were trying to trade me at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was back within a month, and I wasn't ready. I was throwing 85 miles an hour, and they had me in the big leagues.
Oh, jeez.
So I'm sitting out there getting my head crushed. destroyed. And I didn't know what to do. And
Why you couldn't speak up for yourself and go, guys, I'm not ready.
I told them. And they were like trying to pitch me like every 4th or 5th day. It was that bad.
Oh,
and all of a sudden, it was just odd. Like, I was so depressed. You're getting your butt whooped and you don't know what to do. We're in Florida. And like every 5 or 6 days, I would go to the bullpen. They'd bring out a radar gun.
Yeah.
And I was just getting to the point where it would be like 87. Nope, not yet. And then one day I woke up in Florida, got to the stadium, and I knew something like just felt freer in my elbow.
Right.
Got in the bullpen. First pitch was 97 or 98.
Wow.
And they're like, all right, you're closing tonight. That was it. I threw one pitch in the bullpen.
So something physically felt different to you?
I was injured. You got to understand.
But it eventually,
when I came back from my wrist all the way up to my, because I had 3 quarter-sized bone spurs chipped out of my elbow.
Jesus.
And so from like your bicep all the way down, it was black.
Yeah.
It was bruised. It was black. It was swollen. And the swelling didn't go down because I continued to throw. And this is the only time I ever blame somebody for something. That led to me having shoulder problems. Because
throwing while you were still injured?
I started throwing 2 days after surgery.
Oh.
They wouldn't allow that these days, would they? No.
Well, Jake Arrieta a few years back when he missed 4 months of the season, he had the same thing.
Okay.
And they sat him down for the year.
Yeah.
Did that shave years off of your career, do you think?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably shaved a lot of money off my career because, you go from being a guy that's throwing 97, 98 to 91, 92.
If you're just jumping in, Ricky Batalico is here. New show on The Fanatic Unfiltered starts today, by the way, at 2 o'clock. So we're just checking in with him.
So, Ricky, we do spring training every year, which is a lot of fun for us. And this year we got to have Jordan Romano on for the first time. We had Brandon Marsh and Garrett Stubbs. Marsh was off to a rough start. He's done a little bit better lately. Stubbs is playing Lehigh Valley. Romano, man, that guy, a terrible, terrible start. And then he got into a groove for a bit, and he was doing okay. And then the last couple of outings, he's been crummy again. Now, you were a closer. You know what that mindset is. Do you think this guy gets it straightened out for the rest of the season?
He's got to figure out his footing. And I know that sounds odd to say, but if you watch him pitch, he's falling all over the place. When he hits, he's falling to the right, falling to the left. That's mechanics. That to me just says, you know what, calm down.
Yeah.
Just calm down. Take a deep breath, take a step back, not a step forward all the time. Everything doesn't have to be in fast motion. You could literally kind of get into a groove where it's just, okay, here I am. Let's just keep throwing the ball to the mitt. Instead, it's like he thinks he's got to go harder every single pitch. And I think that's a mindset because of analytics.
Right.
Analytics tells you if you're throwing 94 and you regularly throw 96, 97, there's a problem.
We've heard, though, and we were talking to a bunch of people down at spring training, and a number of the I guess, as they might be inclined to do, a lot of the veterans were saying that the analytics are fine, but they can also be a massive distraction. Do you agree with that?
Yes, because I've talked to some of these guys, and they say, like, every day they'll come down and give them numbers. I don't want to hear about numbers.
Right.
You know, I mean, if I'm pitching, okay, I can understand that this guy doesn't hit well. Just tell me he doesn't hit changeups very well. He doesn't hit this very well. He doesn't hit this area very well.
It's classic micromanagement.
Yeah, it's almost too much. And that's why I brought up the thing about, like, tipping pitches.
Yeah.
Where is the guy in the Phillies dugout that is looking for this?
Yeah.
Because I had a guy, Kevin Jordan, played with me way back when. He was a pinch hitter, kind of a not an everyday player, but he played first base, played some infield positions. He was the greatest baseball mind I've ever played with. He would sit on the bench. He would steal the signs from their third base coach. He would get tips of what the pitcher was doing and give them to the hitters. They don't have anybody like that.
Well, they should get someone like that.
But I think that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
That's my whole point. Baseball has turned into such an analytical thing that they forgot about the eyesight is more important than anything else.
Well, let me ask you, because obviously your main love is baseball, but you have to talk about other things.
Yeah.
What of the others, of the remaining, all wonderful sports and our wonderful teams, which gets you the most viscerally responsive?
It's got to be football. Football, because you could pick out a lot of things in football. I mean, little things happen in football. Things happen on the sidelines in football. It's all over the place. So
do you think it shares a lot of kinship with baseball in those dynamics?
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about it, it's an intriguing game in the sense that there's so many different things that you could do in a certain play or a certain time of game. I just think there's a lot of people that could be picked on, too. Right? Am I right?
Yeah.
I mean, you think about Sirianni. Well, is he calling the plays again? What's going on here? You know, the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. There's always somebody that you can get after in football if something goes wrong, because everybody passes the buck in football.
Well, you're going to have fun with Bill Colarulo because he loves that Nick Sirianni. Listen, I know that they just won the Super Bowl, but I'm not.
He's grown on me a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I believe in him as a head coach, but I don't believe in him as calling the play guy. So, yeah, Bill's like, let him do whatever he wants type thing. I'm not like that. We're going to have our disagreements.
Yeah, and listen, man, I think Bill is a solid broadcaster, and, I'll definitely be listening.
Yeah, Bill's he's a good guy. I mean, incredible story. Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, came from a lawyer, decided that, I want to follow a passion of mine, and ends up the afternoon drive guy.
Rumor or true, he was on OJ's defense team.
I think he was dating one of Kardashian's kids at the time.
All right. Well, the show starts today, too. You're just going to hang out for the next 5 hours? Just
Absolutely not. I got to go. I got to go do a couple other things. I think I should probably shower so I don't smell like ass today.
All right. Goals.
All right. Well, it's awesome to see you, man.
You too. I love you guys.
And we appreciate and love you as well.
Luck.
So today, on the filter, Ricky Bo and Bill Colarulo. 97.5 The Fanatic. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back in a second, and Steve-O will be joining us, so make sure you hang out for a moment.
Preston and Steve.
Years ago, and we had 5 kids with us, and we were like, oh, can we get 5 orders of chicken tenders, 5 orders of French fries? And they brought back 5 chafing dishes of chicken tenders and French fries.
Oh my God.
And they gave me a bill for $1,600.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
I almost jumped out of the balcony.
But like, Jessica, let me ask you. Were there enough people in that suite to finish even one of those orders of chicken fingers?
There was like 7 of us.
Yeah.
And my oldest at the time was like 7 years old. I had like 4 little kids.
The fact that you listen,
Same exact thing.
You know, but I mean, is there a listing for an individual serving of chicken?
No,
no,
there's
but
like a little paper menu on the thing, and it's like there's no prices, and it's like chicken tenders, French fries, fried shrimp, whatever.
So
I'm like, oh, let me get 5 orders. And at first they brought out like 1 chafing dish of French fries and 1 of chicken nuggets, and I was like, well, that makes sense. Like for room, they just put it all in one big tray, whatever.
Right.
And then they came back like 4 more times.
Oh my!
And I was like, what is going on? Like, this is like we paid like $1,000 for this like suite for Disney on Ice to begin with, and they were like, oh no, like this is all you ordered. And I was like, oh well, then we have a problem.
Yeah, we have a major problem, and that's why, like,
Like,
you
I
know,
will
this
have
is the norm for them.
$1,700.
That's the thing for these, you know, the servers. That's the norm. You know, so
well, they're used to providing food for a suite. However, if there's 7 people, like with Jessica's situation, and one of them is a kid, and you says, "Are you sure you want 250,000 chicken fingers?"
Yeah, you have to explain. This is an entire dish that you're
Chafing
ordering.
dish.
Do you like even with yours, Casey? They should have explained to you, like her saying, "Okay, let's start off with 1." Well, you didn't know what that meant. Like there should be. Hey, are you?
All right,
You
so that's
understand that there's
250,000 fingers and 51,000 French fries.
Jessica, did you get the money thing worked out with them?
I cried and cried and cried and cried, and they like took 4 of them off because we didn't touch them, and I refused to touch them. But it was still like $200 in chicken nuggets and French fries.
Oh my God!
4 little kids,
Especially when
4 little kids.
you went the extra mile to get the thing and take the kids to see Disney on Ice, which I'm sure you were riveted by.
You get a week's worth of chicken fingers to take home with you.
Right.
But like the thing is, you feel like an idiot. You know what I mean? Like
You do.
How did
You
I
feel
not
embarrassed.
know?
You feel embarrassed.
Yeah.
You feel like, and listen, all the time there, like whenever I encounter the people, the wait staff, they're awesome. Like they'll hook you up and they'll take care of you. But there should be perhaps a little bit better delineation between an individual, if they even offer an individual size.
Thanks, Jessica.
And a chafing dish.
So I had something similar, and I don't want to say like where I was, but you know, I went in to have a service done. And I was expecting one price, right? So I went in and so I ended up getting quoted this price that was basically 3 times as much as I had anticipated.
Right.
And I was so embarrassed that I couldn't pay it.
Yeah.
That I was like, okay, well, hang on to, and so they still have my stuff.
I will use my mouth on you.
But I was like, okay, all right.
Did they do the service?
So there were 3 things that I needed serviced. I asked for them to service the cheapest one of the 3. I go, okay, hang on to everything, and then when I come back and pick this up, I will.
Why don't you just go get it and say no thanks?
Well, so I ended up sending an email to somebody else, because I dealt with somebody online. The person that I dealt with at the store was different. So then when I went home, I finally got the balls to go, I can't pay this. Like, I don't want, And so I emailed the person. I'm like, listen, this is what I thought was, and I was too embarrassed to say something and just walk away with my product.
You should have sent them a note like written in crayon. This is my house. I cannot afford this.
But I was so and that's what it really boiled down to, was just me being too embarrassed to say. It's too
Do you think they were
expensive for
being?
me.
Do you think they're being predatory to you? Do you
No,
think they were,
no.
Okay, you just got confused.
I just got
All right.
confused, and I didn't know, going into it. The other problem is, like, when you want to find out how much something costs, like, the internet doesn't really help you with that sort of stuff. You're like, how much should this cost? And then the internet's like, well,
we don't know.
We don't know.
You know where this happens actually a lot is the nail salon. So I was sitting in a nail salon and I watched them. Do you want this new type of manicure? And the girl was like, okay, well, what is it? And there's a little bit of a language barrier. So they do their best to explain it to her. And she's like, all right, yeah, that sounds fine. Great. Comes with a little extra massage, whatever it was. And I was still there when she checked out. And it was a $200 manicure she got.
Well,
She goes, what do you mean $200? And they were like, well, we did whatever the nail polish was and this and that. And she was like, absolutely not. She goes, it took you the same amount of time to do my nails as if I were to get a regular manicure. If it was a 3-hour-long manicure and there was more time that went into it, but what
was the reaction?
She refused to pay it. She said, I am not paying this. She said, you can call the cops. You can do what you want. I am not paying you for this. And they did eventually just charge her what she would have normally paid when she, went in there on a normal basis to get a regular manicure.
I also, I just got a text. I was reminded, same thing happened with dog grooming. And so
dog grooming's expensive.
Well, and I know
if you
that.
don't know that.
And I know that, and I know going in, but I'd gone in the last time, and my dogs were a little hairier, a little bit more matted.
I'd like their butt hair removed as well, please.
Steve, these guys charge me hundreds of dollars,
really
more than what I'm used to paying. They charged me a matting fee, and they just shaved it off anyway.
What was the final charge?
It was like, hon, can you text me and let me know? Because it was somewhere in the neighborhood of somewhere between $300 to $500.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
That's ridiculous.
It was 2 dogs. And
they have big dogs.
2 big dogs.
Yeah.
And Reggie doesn't do well with the dryers.
Right.
He gets really anxious. He's not nasty. But he's also 80 pounds.
Right.
So that's why I was kind of like, okay, it is what it is. And, but I was like, but I was too embarrassed to go, I'm not paying this.
Right.
That's way too much. And then, and I don't know what it, when you just say it's a matting fee, but then you just shave over it anyway. I'm like, what's the difference if you're, there might be a big difference. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not
But
a dog
it seems
groomer.
very pricey. It seems extraordinary. I mean, even for the size of your dogs, that's ridiculous.
Here's a text says, went out in Amman, Jordan, one time and ended up with a $3,000 US dollar bill that I had to argue down to $1,500 in Arabic, surrounded by a bunch of Jordanian thugs. He said everything is negotiable in the Middle East. It was a gentleman's club, and we were paying for the, quote, the girls' time and their $50 drinks. We didn't even get an effing OTPHJ out of the 3 of us. And so they had to argue $3,000. Wow.
That's insane.
Hang on a second. There was, here's one that says, hey guys, everyone should know that if they're in a foreign country, unlike America, if there's bread or anything else on the table, when you sit down, you'll get charged for it.
Yeah.
That does happen. Yes, I have heard of that.
Yeah, and when
so if it seems like it's complimentary because it's sitting out, you need to be aware that you might have.
And as they point out with this place that started this place that Mykonos, they actually there is a menu online with the prices that are nothing like what this mother and daughter were charged for 2 crab's legs and 2 mojitos.
Yeah. Hang on, I want to go to John. Hey, John. Good morning.
Hey guys, Gadzooks.
Gadzooks, what's up, buddy?
So quick story, similar to Casey, just being, not sure of something. My wife, it was her birthday. She's also about to give birth to our second boy. This was about 4 years ago. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to take you out to a jewelry store. You pick anything you want. Mm-hmm. And I am a man of modest means. My wife is a person of modest means.
Right.
And so we go to the jewelry store. The lady was super nice. She's like, oh, let's look at this, look at this. And my wife was like, I would like earrings. So she takes us to this display case. I'm wearing like mesh shorts and a T-shirt. So, she takes us to the case. My wife puts it on. She looks great. My wife then goes, you know what? I really don't. I asked the lady. I was like, how much is it going to be? She was like $3 to $5. I was like, oh, okay. And then my wife's like, oh, I really don't feel too good. Let's just leave. So we walk out of the store and I go, Ray, are you okay? And she's like, those earrings she showed you? And I was like, yes. She was like, that was $3,000 to $5,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she knows, my wife knows, and it's a similar thing that you guys were talking about, being embarrassed. She knows that I would have been so embarrassed, I would have paid. I would have been like, here you go. Yep.
That's the worst when you listen and you're a hardworking person and you're there and you want to. And then when you have to really, and they do that on purpose a lot of times, they really hide the price and they make it small. So I'm just very over it. I want to see look at the price tag and say, this is what I'm looking for. You won't waste your time and you won't waste their time. But it is a little weird when you're like, whoa.
Oh, yeah, dude. And I remember in my earlier years of wandering into a higher fashion store or higher end jeweler, like a big name like Cartier or Tiffany, and starting to, shop for something Rochelle, and then they get to the price and I'm like,
yeah, you're like Steve Martin. The head turns.
Yeah, you have to try to play off the
that's Steve Martin.
Stir crazy.
Yeah.
$1,000.
But it tests.
I gotta find that.
It tests your composure.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be embarrassed.
Oh my God!
You know what
I bought Claire's the engagement ring, and I was at a place in New York called Fortunoff's, and I'm like,
this was pre-Steven Singer days.
Pre-Steven Singer.
Wait, Fortunoff's sold diamonds? I thought it was like
It was actually
costume jewelry.
in Long Island. It was known as the jewelry store. This is if only I had Steven Singer at the time.
Wait, no, wait. No, sit.
I was sweating bullets because you're just getting started and you want to make sure that you also want to do something that she's going to like and at least be able to show her friends.
Yeah.
And I remember going in there and fortunately the person was very kind. Again, and we're not saying it just because it's, he's an advertiser, but it's the truth. The Steven Singer experience is a lot better. And they get this. They get that you're going to work within your budget, and that means all the difference in the world.
I remember asking a dentist because I had to get some sort. It had to have been a root canal or something like that, and I was like, "Well, So I was presented with
Traffic on 93.3 WMMR.
All right, thank you very much, Marissa. Our next guest is joining us via Zoom, complete with a Hawaiian shirt and sleeping dog, which is a cool little combo. Man, he's going to be in town for a string of shows next week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Nice.
All at Helium Comedy Club. There's going to be multiple shows except for that Sunday, which is actually Thursday's one show, Sunday's one show, but you can get your tickets at heliumcomedy.com. Longtime friend of the show, Mr. Steve O.
Yeah, dude. What's going on, guys?
Not much, brother. How you doing, man?
I'm out there doing the deal, man.
Are you
Got a
in
new
your
show?
Are you in your RV right now?
I am.
Love that.
This is your broadcast RV?
One of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So listen, I was doing some math, and I used the first tour I could see you going out on in the bio information was 2010. Was that when you first really started actively pursuing stand-up?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So 15 years at it.
Wow.
You have this podcast. There's potentially a whole audience base that's only familiar with you as Steve-O, the stand-up comedian and podcaster, that may not be as aware of the jackass element. What is the mix of the audience that's coming to your shows these days?
Wow. I'm pretty sure that that people know me as Steve-O the idiot. But yeah, the audience, I think that I've effectively got it all, man. Some days I feel like Matthew McConaughey, when he says, I get older, they just stay the same age. And, I also look out into the audience and I feel like it's a bunch of people that, we're all just kind of getting old together.
Yeah, no, you've cultivated a loyal fan base, and people have been with you for the ride. But I mean, you've been, again, when you first started doing stand up, you were fully committed, and you talked about having to kind of establish that this wasn't just a passing interest.
Right.
Initially, was there? I mean, you came in with your credits and your gravitas, but to the veteran comedians, was there a little bit of having to prove yourself?
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And fortunately, comedy, much like all forms of entertainment, is very democratic, so for those who bristled at it and didn't love it, like you said, I gave it hell. I really poured my heart into it, and it went well enough that I continue to make my rounds around the circuit 15 years in. And I've done nothing but get better. It's been great, man.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, as a guy who had to try and perfect the craft of skateboarding or any sort of circus stuff, like something that doesn't necessarily just come naturally to people, that you have to work on it over and over and over again, and with literal bumps and bruises and broken bones, did that sort of get your mindset right in tackling this new craft?
Sure. I think it's a great metaphor for it. Yeah, like anything you want to do, you're gonna have to go through being bad at it. You know, that's how it works. But you know, my journey with the comedy has been it's been so just crazy, because in the beginning I thought, oh man, this would be great. This is something that has longevity, you know, like I can really get away from beating myself up. And as I did it, initially my first special was just me and a microphone. Then as I put together the next show, it occurred to me, oh my God, the stories I'm telling happened on camera. Like, what if I edit the footage in after the fact, so it's a multimedia comedy special with footage illustrating the stories? And that worked great. And then when I put together the next show, I thought, oh man, the multimedia is so cool, but I don't want to live in the past anymore, and I want to bring footage on the road. So then I went about filming like the craziest crap ever and made a multimedia tour. And that worked so well. Now I've done it again. And every show has been so much better than the one before, but it's also taken me right back to beating myself up.
We knew it would end up there eventually, but yeah, it is a multimedia thing, and you kind of are the hybrid between stand-up and, in the best way, a performance artist, because you're doing more that extends out past the stage. But in so doing, and as you're getting to tour around, and you have this wonderful equipment that you bring, and this mobile van for your podcast, Steve-O's Wild Ride. Let me ask you. Is the fact that you can bring the studio to the people you're interviewing, is that been an asset? I assume if you can tell someone, we're going to park in front of your house, could you come out and do the show? It's got to be good, right?
For sure. That's the whole reason why I took that approach. You know, like everybody had a podcast, and I thought, man, you know, like it's so annoying to me when someone says, hey, will you be on my podcast? Because everybody's got a podcast. You know that when you sit down, you're talking to nobody,
right?
You know, for the most part. So I was like, man, now I'm going to be the guy saying, will you do my podcast? And the only way I could wrap my head around doing that would be if I created a mobile studio that I could bring to the guest. Like, that convenience factor was what made me willing to be that guy.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Steve, I mean, speaking of multimedia and podcasts, I saw recently you on Eric Andre, and I really like him a lot, and his podcast is terrific, and you as a guest is always great. But you shared a story using multimedia that I'd never heard before, and you don't have to repeat the whole thing if you don't want to, but the story about you and Wu-Tang Clan, and flashing back to the video of you up on stage naked, doing a backflip, and then getting in trouble as a result was fascinating. Can you share some of that?
Sure. Yeah, man. I was just a humongous fan of Old Dirty Bastard. There was a point when I was locked up in the LA County Jail in the protective custody, and the cops told me that I was in ODB's regular cell, and I felt this kinship to him. That there was a point when when I was performing on at the same event as him, and I went over to it was the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City, and I went over to the room that he was performing in, and he had his pants down. He had, he had a big blunt of PCP.
Whoa.
And he was like, it was just the craziest scene I'd ever, I just thought this guy was so great. Then of course, he passed away, and I ended up becoming friendly with Method Man because we worked on a couple things together. And I was at this Rock the Bells festival where Wu-Tang was headlining. And I said to Method Man, I know you guys are going to do an ODB tribute. I want to pay tribute to ODB because I was such a fan. I said, to honor ODB, I'm going to get completely naked, and I'm going to swing my my garbage back and forth and catch it. So I'm in a mangina position. And then with my mangina, I'm going to do a standing back flip. It's called the double back flip. And at first, Method Man was like, dude, amazing, go for it. And then later he came to me and he says, man, like someone's gonna beat you up if you do that. And I was like, ODB would love that. And we went ahead and I did it, and it didn't go over well with Raekwon, who grabbed me by the neck. He said I didn't appreciate that. That was disrespectful.
And ODB's mom was there, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. He made me apologize to ODB's mom and to everyone. And for how gung ho I was to be beaten up before the show, like in the moment, like I've never apologized faster.
And that's a hell of a story. I have to ask you, because a lot of times stuff will pop up online and you're not sure what it pertains to, and things will be like 7 years old or 8 years old. And this one has ended up in my algorithm. It's you talking directly to Bam on a video, Bam Margera.
Yeah.
And is that recent or is that a blast from the past?
It's fairly recent. I'd say that was probably, in the neighborhood of 6 months ago, maybe.
Okay.
There's this wildly wealthy guy in Alabama who both Bam and I are friendly with. So while Bam and I have not been in communication, neither one of us is upset with the other, but we're not in contact. So we've exchanged some pleasantries through this intermediary. And the guy called me up. He said, "Hey, we're gonna have Bam on our podcast. Is there anything you want to tell him?" And I was like, "Oh, dude, I made this video." I said, "Hey, Bam, I feel like I owe you an apology because I so aggressively tried to force sobriety on you, which I think is valid. Like I really, I tried so hard to, I brought him on tour and I was like, all right, and it just, sobriety doesn't really work that way. Like if you try to push it on people, you're more likely to push them away from it.
Yeah.
And I should have known better, but I love him. I wanted to help him. I really, I tried so hard, and I tried too hard. And so I felt that, like, as far as acknowledging my side of the street, like that was something that made sense to me to look at just my side of the street. And apparently it was, it was very well received.
Oh, good. Good. I mean, listen, it's as they say, baby steps is the classic saying, but I think eventually also just living, just remaining alive, getting older, appreciating things, appreciating certain aspects of life, I think are going to draw you two ineluctably together again in whatever way that is. But
yeah. I mean, there's no bad blood between us at this point. Like, if I'm honest, I think that he is very afraid of true commitment to a life of sobriety and everything that comes with being in recovery.
Yeah.
And I think that I am very representative of that lifestyle, and as such, like,
oh, I see.
He loves me. He loves me, but I represent kind of what he's afraid of. So
no, that's very wise. Yeah.
Yeah, so he loves me like crazy. He's just not quite ready to go all in.
Yeah.
And it makes me crazy because I just see that his life could be so fantastic, But we're all on our own timetables, man.
Yes,
exactly.
That's absolutely true.
One more quick question, and then we're going to let you go, Steve, because I know you're actually going to be popping in next week when the shows come around. But I wanted to ask,
man.
I wanted to ask about your second book and the title, "A Hard Kick in the Nuts," which I love, which I learned from a lifetime of terrible decisions. What's the forecast on that right now?
Sorry, what do you mean by what's the forecast?
Have you already released it, or is it on the way?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
my apologies.
This has been released. It sounds like I've got an outdated bio.
It does. I got a little outdated info, so sorry about that.
Hey, no, not to worry whatsoever. I put out my first book in 2011, and as I approached 10 years since its release, I thought, man, like so much has happened in the last 10 years. I got another book in me.
Good.
I called up my literary agent. I said, I got another book. And what my agent said was, sadly, memoir part 2 is not a thing.
That's as blunt as you can get.
Right. And she said that in order to put out another book, what you have to do is have like some kind of an angle on it, some kind of a format, like a twist. And I chewed on that for a second, and I said, in my comedy, I'm kind of joking about my experience with middle age. Like, what if it was like a Jackass guide to middle age? And she was like, oh, I love that. So the hard kick in the nuts is kind of Father Time is the hard kick in the nuts. But it ended up like I felt that it would be alienating to talk about middle age, since I do have an audience that just stays young as well.
Yeah.
So we changed it somewhat into a general book of wisdom gleaned from a lifetime of terrible decisions. And it was just kind of tongue in cheek, like I'm like Steve-O is writing a self-help book.
Right.
And we made that kind of funny, but in part it also actually learned some stuff over the years. So
no, you clearly have. I think you are quite a fountain of dispensable wisdom about surviving. At least we can say that, and then thriving. I would also make a case for that as well. And we're thrilled you're coming to the area, man. We're thrilled you're coming back in.
Hey, I appreciate that so much. I wish I would have pushed back and just fought for memoir part 2.
I love it.
But it is what it is. And I'll tell you, man, I love you guys so much. And, this format of live comedy that I've stumbled on is so genuinely fun and wild, because what I go about filming for these multimedia shows, I do not have the limitations of having to get insurance for stuff, because I just do it without insurance.
No, the stuff is crazy, and then the feedback of what you've done when people have attended the show, they freaking love it, and it's just as wonderfully correctly wrong as it's ever been. So
100%.
Yeah.
There's no regard for laws. There's no insurance in place. Like, the spirit of what I do is intact. But man, the limitations are not there, and I push it further than Jackass.
Wow!
So it's like an extra naughty Jackass movie meets a stand-up comedy show in a setting where you're watching something you can't see anywhere else. And yeah, man. This is it's exciting and it's fun. It's at Helium, June 19th to the 22nd.
Well, make sure we get the word out.
There.
Yeah,
we will.
absolutely.
Yep. So we'll get the word out, and we'll see you when you're in town next week. I hear you're stopping by. So heliumcomedy.com.
For sure. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for everything. I love you. I love Philly, and I can't wait to see you guys.
Love you, Steve-O. We'll check in with you in a bit, man. Steve-O, guys. That's crazy.
Guy's amazing. He really is.
He's going over the top.
Yeah.
For this one, which is.
And he when he says something, it's not hyperbole.
No. Oh my God. No.
There are hours and hours of footage that will establish he delivers on what he promises.
And you're right. He says things, and he's not being tongue in cheek about it. He's being literal.
Yeah.
That he gets away with some crazy stuff, but no insurance. No regard for the law.
It's all on him. Yeah.
I love it, man.
Just stay alive, because we want to have him around.
Yeah.
To keep enjoying these visits.
Yep. Real quick, I good news for my wife. She texted in, and our graduation ceremony is indeed going to be outside tonight.
nice.
Okay.
That's what we were hoping for.
It's
a
be
little
fine.
more, little more interesting in the outdoor environment. So this is my youngest graduating, so it'll be my last sitting through the ceremony.
Is it at the school proper?
Yep.
Okay.
You think you'll cry?
I don't know. Maybe I'll get choked up at some point.
Yeah, because this is the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Will you blow a ram's horn at any point?
I told Preston this last week. Because Ben's was on Wednesday. Excuse me, and the one of the speakers made a point to say to the audience, if you're a parent and that you are a parent of an only child, or this is your youngest, we would like for you to stand up. And I thought that was really nice for the speaker to acknowledge that. And so I did, because Ben's my only child. But it is it hits a little differently when it's your last or your only.
I was trying, and I don't know if I did so convincingly or not, the other day to dispense some fatherly wisdom.
Oh, is that right?
And just saying, hey, look, this is, this part of your life is going to be over.
Never feed bok choy to a hippopotamus.
Really? No. No, it was just essentially that man, this is just make note of this.
Yeah.
This is, you get a little while longer with school and college. And then I tried to do this in nicely without saying that. I just said essentially after that, you work for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
No,
Which is, and I don't want to present that as doom and gloom, but it is just reality in that you will more than likely go to work and you will not stop working for the majority of your life. And I just want you to be ready and don't let this special time get away from you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't think Caleb knows the occupation, has a love for the occupation.
Well, hopefully that'll present itself as a job.
Right,
so
right.
we'll see.
And
But,
so,
yeah.
yes. So I think that will be something wonderful. But you try your best. And I don't know if I did take the little wisdoms that my father gave me and carried throughout my life. And there were a couple of them. And then the thing that he always stressed, paramount above all else, was take the time to find something you enjoy doing.
Yeah. Oh, without question. And that's the advice that my dad gave me. But I also want them to be aware of, like the group of friends, this crew.
Oh, this moment. Yeah.
Is I want to say you don't feel it now, but very, very soon, this hang that you guys have regularly is going to come to a close. Mm-hmm. And the opportunities that you will all be together again as a group are going to become less and less, and then eventually they're going to be never. I mean, I don't want to be, I don't want to give a
changes.
bad. Yeah, it does. But I mean, but this time, this is the way it feels in this group dynamic, and the way you guys you see each other every day. People are going to go their separate ways, and it's going to be rare when the group gets back together again.
What's there? Think about the movies that have depicted this, or that there's an incredible song by Nickelback called "Photograph."
Oh my God! No,
what was on Joey's head? Anyway?
I actually had I had gotten more choked up last year when my daughter's graduating high school than with my son this year, and so maybe I got it out of the way last year, but. She also went from kindergarten all the way through the senior year of high school with like two of her best friends, right?
Wow.
And so they were over, this is before graduation, and I was just trying to give them like some decent like words of encouragement and words of advice. And I got a little bit choked up saying it because I am still friends with the guys that I went to kindergarten with.
I was just telling my wife how I envied that. Yeah. I have not known the collection of friends that you have in my many years of life, and it's something that I think I have good friends certainly, but I not in the way that you do, Preston. You often talk about the level of the show and the popularity of the show, and I don't mean to. I'll jump back in case, but about how moving around or being of transplants, you don't have that sort of thing that resonates with your hometown.
Yeah. So Casey and Nick and Marissa grew up here, and they have, we've become this show that's been together for a long, long time, and we're well known in the city. And I was like, Steve and I don't have that dynamic. The people that we grew up with are not here, and they don't know what we've done and how we are a part of the fabric of Philadelphia and the greater area.
Right.
You guys, your friends that you grew up, did see that happen.
And they're
that
so not impressed by it at all.
Well,
no. Listen, man, I got.
It's still pretty cool.
Text chain from my buddies last week because I was being honored on Delco Day, and they sent this screen capture, and they were like, "Dude, Delco legend," and I love that.
That's
like, I'm not
awesome.
calling myself
No,
that, but
no,
that's what they said, and
None
I'm
of
like,
us ever would, but
But the point I was trying to make was with them, and my main focus in telling my daughter and her friends this last year was like, you guys are still friends, but now you have to work harder at it. You know what I mean? Like you're not in the same building every single day.
Yeah.
You know? And so.
And also, I'm not pointing out because if you get to see a few texts that are coming in and saying, I'm still friends with all the friends I grew up with. Sure, absolutely. But I'm saying you gathered every day at this time. You saw each other every day. I'm like, that part of it is going to be going away. So I don't want these next couple of weeks because they will, still get together over the summer. I don't want that. I want you to realize how special that is.
Yeah.
Well, and not and just take it in now.
Agreed. If not go away, morph into something that's different.
Yeah.
And by different, I mean it's going away.
Well, I'm proud of my son because he's taking the time to spend time with his high school buddies this summer. Like he's making a deliberate effort to hang out with them as much as he possibly can because he's aware of that, which takes mindfulness, and I'm impressed by it. But like to your point as well, Preston, in high school, and then if you decide to go to college, if college is your path, you're living with those people. So not only are you going to class with all those people, you're in the same dorm on the same campus for sometimes 7 years, and but more likely 4 years.
I thought you worked here.
But that's an experience you just don't get for the rest of your life until maybe a retirement home. Like when you're living with somebody and going and spending that much time with that amount of people, it's a really unique situation.
Yeah, and you know what? And I didn't have that. I didn't go to college, and so that's another thing that I pointed out. I didn't point this out to Caleb, but I was talking to Casey about it. I'm like, so then you move on, and if you go away to college and you meet this new group, and I think you can form an even stronger bond than the ones you made in high school, and if so, good for you. That's a really awesome thing to have happen. I mean, using the example like the Big Chill, those were college friends, and they had a really, really tight, strong. They grew in different ways together. That was pretty cool.
On a different way of telling it, Stand By Me, which is your favorite movie, the way he recounts at the end.
Oh yeah,
how people move on.
Yeah.
And I remember and then finally senior year of high school when the classes were few and far between, and you were like, just kind of cleaning up business. I remember even at that time thinking, because I was really enjoying it, like I should have gotten more out of this. I really like this feeling now, and now it's going away.
There's a great line in Stand By Me. It's Richard Dreyfuss speaking, as the author. He says that people come in and out of your lives like busboys in restaurants.
Yeah.
And it's like there are those things that happen. There are people that are, significant in your world, but you can sift through friends and acquaintances, and eventually they just kind of fade out.
I'll always remember Gary Lauer.
Yeah, that's it.
That was the original title.
So anyway,
for every Ricky Bottalico that ends up being a friend, you get a Gary Lauer as well.
I think
Gary Lauer is very loyal.
The last line in that movie, you never have friends like you did when you were in elementary school.
Yeah.
And then he's typing it. Dreyfuss's character is typing it, and I believe he types the words, Jesus Christ, does anyone?
Yeah.
And I've seen an edited version of that where they quite literally blacked out on the screen the Jesus Christ portion of it, and then the audio they cut that out too. So it just says, does anyone? Which gets the point across, but is it that offensive to write in Jesus Christ?
It's a little more powerful.
I don't know.
But the reason I was bringing that up because I did see this article, so we have graduation tonight, but this is completely different, but it has to do with graduating seniors. And so the grad signs that you put up have you seen those, Steve?
Yes, I'm well aware.
The school, the year, the name,
I love
stuff like that.
I love them.
Some of them can have a little more information, and apparently there are red flags with security experts and privacy advocates about those that I didn't even consider until I saw this article.
We have one in front of our house right now.
Does it say where he's going to college next year, by any chance?
It says his phone number and social security number. Is that wrong?
Because I always thought that the college thing was giving away a little too much information.
Well, you would be right. right, Casey. Yeah.
No one's at home right now, so don't come try to see him.
So the name, age, school, photo, and even the college you're going to be going to is all information that can be used by scammers, identity thieves, or strangers with bad intentions.
Man, I'm so suspicious and cynical of that stuff. I did see a couple of signs recently, Preston, that seemed to have a little bit, too much information. Yeah, and also, you never like to. But I can understand the pride, and you're trying to show the world.
Yes.
There's a happy medium, is there not?
Yeah, I mean, well, you could not include the name and the social security number. No, but you could just
somebody here did something.
You could put 2025 graduate or something like that, and it would acknowledge it. But it says sticking that sign in your yard shows that it reveals the location. Your child lives at a specific address, and the sign shows their photo or school name. It also broadcasts where they are every day. The long-term digital footprint. It says, in addition to the yard signs, proud parents often share photos and details about their graduate on social media as well. So this is outside of the sign.
Yes, that can be a problem.
From there, all that information can be scrapped or misused, adding to the kids' digital footprint without their consent.
There's a family in my neighborhood, and their graduating student is named Call Before You Dig. And they have a sign out on their front lawn.
Got a number there, too?
811. Yeah. And it says also exposing patterns and predictability. Graduate signs that include school details can reveal family routines, and even when the house may be empty during college drop-off. But the experts say that there are safer alternatives. You can still celebrate your grad's accomplishment without compromising their privacy by not including personal information on the sign, decorating your front door or porch instead, or just putting up yard flags for a college that do not include your kid's name.
Have you done the lawn flag thing over the years or no?
Lawn flag?
I mean, lawn signs for graduation?
Yeah. Yep. So, it's become
a thing,
kind of normal.
You know, it's
kind
kind
of
of
all over the place.
Sad during the lockdown. You'd go around the neighborhood and there'd be the signs up, and didn't get to do their full graduation stuff. But I still would go in and say hi. I'd break in and say hi to them.
So there was something that was tradition at my son's high school, and I've seen it with other high schools as well. I thought it was sort of exclusively a prep thing, but I know that O'Hara was doing it. Harriton did it as well, but the boys all smoke cigars after graduation.
Yeah, I heard you talking about this.
Yeah, so I'm curious, Press, let me know after graduation tonight if cigars are a big thing as well.
Yeah, I wonder
That's a thing?
where. I don't think you can smoke on school property.
Oh, crap. Okay, yeah, because
Yeah,
ours
we're
was
at
off.
the school.
Yeah.
And I was walking around because Ben graduated from Harriton, and the graduation ceremony was at the pavilion in Villanova, and I was walking around the pavilion outside afterwards, and there was a stank of cigar smoke throughout the area. It was just a lot of kids were doing it. A lot of parents were doing it. Parents brought them for their kids. My ex-wife sent me a picture of her and my son smoking a cigar. I was like, wow, we've evolved. This is interesting. And I talked to Ben about it the next day, and he was like, yeah, it's not for me. I don't really care for it.
It's funny because Seamus was smoking a cigar. He goes, hey, Dad, taste this. It tastes great. I was like, oh, okay. And so I kind of had my hands full, and I took the cigar, and I took a drag off of it, and just instinctively inhaled it like a full drag of the cigar. So I went, my son made fun of me for days for that. It was hilarious.
So as a non-smoker, that's verboten, right?
Yeah, and it's way more harsh than any like a cigarette inhale or a joint.
Like a
inhale.
pipe, you simply puff, right?
Yeah, exactly. Goes in your mouth. You get the sensation. The nicotine still goes into your body through that.
Even like just half of a cigar or whatever. If I'm on a golf course or hanging out with buddies or something like that's too much. They're so freaking strong, Steve. And like if you make the mistake of inhaling, you'll regret it immediately.
And the stench just kind of lingers. So like I will smoke a cigar from time to time, but very rarely will I do it early in the day. It's more of like a
Dude, we were out at the Cardboard Classic. We were out on a mountainside on a cold, brisk day with a cold wind blowing, and someone in that huge crowd was smoking a cigar, and it was like they were smoking it in my mouth.
Yep. I was smoking a cigar on Casey's front porch this weekend.
You were. It
Yeah.
smelled great. I loved it.
Yeah, it was nice. I enjoyed that.
What is your brand of choice?
I Oliva It's called the, which one is it that I get? The Master Blend MB3. That's what I like.
There's a place, I know you should talk about this place. It was on, I think it's on Montgomery. It used to be in probably.
Oh, yeah.
Narberth, maybe?
CJ or SJ?
Yeah, it was had a big storefront.
Yeah, so now they're on
It
Rock
had
Hill
the
Road.
most,
Yeah.
the most unattractive cigar smoking scenarios you could pot. Like an old woman with a cigar.
Like missing teeth. Yeah.
Don't you want to appeal to a clientele? It was just the worst, but apparently it was a wonderful place.
Yeah.
I like the smell of a pipe. The smell of a cigar just completely turns me off. I find it disgusting.
I don't mind cigar, but the pipe is
there's sweetness to it.
Yummy.
People don't smoke pipes anymore.
No.
My pop-up
I
did.
do. When I'm solving a crime, I will put it in. I put on a particular hat, and I have a magnifying glass.
My neighbor across the street smoked pipes, and he also whittled. He would whittle birds.
whittler?
Yeah, he was a whittler.
Wow.
He whittled like living birds?
No, wood.
Would he peel an apple with a knife?
Not that I recall.
Okay. All right.
No.
This is my grandfather used to do that.
There's something. For a while, I tried to the whittling.
To whittle?
Yeah,
it's hard.
Yeah, it is.
Well,
hard.
I mean, if you're going to carve something, it's like you can just sit there.
Well,
and
that was the
strip
intent.
Well, you
Dude,
can
he was
strip a
good.
stick just for fun.
I'm telling you, man, he had like everything. It looked like photorealistic.
Really?
Really, really good stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
I wonder what he did with all that stuff.
Whittle.
Whittle.
Just sitting there
all
whittling.
day.
Whittle.
One day, just sitting there whittling.
Yeah, I'll have to tell you about the cigar thing. I don't think that's going to happen. We're going to rip a few bongs afterwards. But
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to.
That smells good too.
For our cigar.
See,
no.
of all of those, between cigarette burning stuff, right? A cigarette burning,
Tires.
a pipe burning, tires burning. Okay,
Crack.
I've never smelled crack, but or pot burning. I think of all of those, I think pot burning smells the worst.
Let me throw another one in there. Cloves.
Yeah.
Oh, that stuff?
I don't mind a
Remember
clove,
those?
but
I haven't
yeah.
smelled it in so long. I'm not really sure that I remember what the scent was. Marissa?
When we were in Cuba, that was a bunch of years ago, I smelled a clove and I was like, oh my God, I just want one right now. So we hunted down throughout the entire island trying to find it. And Cuba was very strange. Like you could only buy things at certain times. And after days, hours of looking for it, we finally looked and we were like, oh, maybe somebody just brought cloves from home.
And it's not a Cuban thing. Wow.
Oh, they smell so good.
So you think weed smells the worst?
Of those, yeah. I'm not saying it smells bad, but
Right.
of my preferred.
I rank pipes as the best smelling, then weed, then probably cigars, and then cigarette smoke.
Then cigarette. Yeah, I don't like cigarette smoke anymore. There was a time when I loved that smell, but I can't stand it. Ugh.
And the way it lingers into, we'll get into clothing and things like that.
Yeah,
But I
not
mean,
a fan.
smoking is way down in this country, is it not?
Yeah.
I think it's actually on the uptick.
Oh, really? Because I know vaping is back on the uptick.
Is this from your personal observation, or did you read something like this?
We got on investigative reporter Casey Foster with us. I think this is correct.
What were you going to say, Marissa? I'm sorry, she wanted to jump in.
Oh, I was going to jump into Casey and I exchanged a glance. So many red carpets, stars and celebrities are incorporating cigarettes into their outfits. I think it's having a moment. Yeah, if you look at
Into their outfits?
Yeah, well, like
Instead of buttons.
as a prop.
Oh.
As a prop, is there like if you look at the Met Gala, a good majority of people had cigarettes in their hands.
Yeah, or they
posing.
were folding them up in their sleeves.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
in their
I think
Armani gowns.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding about that. That was a thing back in the 50s.
Yeah.
Little James Dean look.
But also, vaping, I have been off of vapes for, like 2.5 months now. I feel so much better.
Do you?
Dude,
Was it hard to kick the habit?
No, I think it ultimately it just got to the point where I just, and it wasn't even a lung thing. It's just my overall body felt horrible, and I knew it was from the vapes. And so I had it in my pocket, and I listen, I'm not out of the freaking woods. I still chew tobacco, but I'm just, addicted
ever
to
chew
nicotine.
vapes?
I have never chewed vapes, but I knew it had to go. And so the first day or two are a little bit difficult because the thing about vapes is you could do it anywhere. It doesn't smell. It doesn't
Actually,
linger.
there's some pleasant. I think I smelled a cotton candy, I guess.
Yeah, they have scented ones like that, but I think is what he's saying is it's not an obvious, who is smoking in here?
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
So, it's definitely made things way easier. Yeah, we're looking at pictures of good-looking people smoking right now.
And how much is it for a pack of smokes these days?
It's over $10.
Good
Yeah.
for one pack. So how many in a carton? How many packs in a carton?
20.
She's looking at $200
for a carton of
for a
cigarettes.
carton of cigarettes?
Yeah.
Sweet jumping Jesus.
Yep, that's a bit much. All right. Well, anyhow, we do need to take a quick break, but just wanted to, I'll let you know about the cigar smoking thing.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
case
And
we have
congrats to Caleb and everybody
graduation
over at Souderton.
Thank you, sir. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back in a second. Bizarre File Stories. Yep, they're up next. Hang out.
Preston and Steve.
And I was like, well, how much does a root canal cost?
It's going to be some money.
He wouldn't tell me.
What?
Wait, no, wait.
Somebody in that office knows how much a root canal costs. Can somebody please tell me how much this is going to cost so I know?
Honestly, and it's the truth, and I implore you, you are the customer. Do not feel bad. Whatever your means,
ask.
you're in there to give business to these people.
Yeah, you're
and
entitled to that information.
You're entitled to that information.
Yep.
And if they seem secretive about it, leave.
Let me go to Chris. He wants to comment on the dental thing. Hey, Chris, good morning.
Yoo-hoo.
You-
He just knew he prompted.
It's too early. I couldn't do it.
What's up, Chris?
First of all, I thought when I was on the phone I was dying because I heard an angel speaking to me, and I was like, "Oh, it's Marissa." I love Marissa.
Aw.
She's on It's an A+ show all the time.
Oh, there you go. We'll let Bill Weston know that.
Yeah.
All right, well, quit hitting on her and tell us your story, please.
Well, Casey was saying about the dental. Yeah, be careful because these smaller offices are being bought out by larger ones, and they're pushing stuff out. My friend went to one, and they tried pushing all this stuff on her, and she's like, I don't even need it. Like
Zoom whitening and stuff like that, or
tongue whitening.
And then years ago, somebody went in for a procedure, and they came out. They got 10 teeth taken out, and none of them were needed because they're
That's not a good dentist.
Money.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Dentist.
Bottom line, you go into the dentist and they remove 10 teeth that they don't have to take out. That's not a good
Listen,
dentist.
while you're here for the cleaning, what about I remove all your teeth?
Yeah.
It's
We have
easy to-
audio of a guy who just got that done.
Wait, no, wait.
Well, they're going to make the case that cleaning them is easier when you can take them out and put them in a washing machine.
Anybody think about that?
My friend had a medical procedure done, and they were telling her your insurance is likely not going to cover all of it. And she was like, okay, well, we're not going in. Like, you're not putting me under. We're
Right.
going in for this until I know around
How
much. And she said they could not, or they wouldn't give her a price. And she was like, we're not doing this till you give me a price.
Yeah. All right. Let me go to Mike. He had an interesting situation one time. Hey, Mike. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
I was in Lauderdale with my wife on vacation, and we were at a resort that had a golf course attached to it. I wanted a cigar. So I go into the pro shop, and they have this nice selection of cigars. I go, let me grab this one. It was like a Davidoff Robusto. I clip the end, walk to the register, and the woman says, that'll be $65. My wife looks at me and goes, you better enjoy that cigar, man.
And you were committed. You had to buy it. You had no choice.
I was so committed, man. I had all but lit it. I mean, the end was clipped, and I'm just looking at it like.
Look,
once you've done that, you bought it.
Mike was going to ask for a roach clip for that thing. He can smoke it all the way down.
I put my cheek and gum to get it all.
Dude.
Thanks, Mike.
That's crazy.
Oh, my God. All right.
My sister-in-law is from Greece, and so she texted me, and she said, I still will never understand why Americans go to that side of Greece. She said, it's all like this.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so there needs to be like an insider tourist information pub to tell you to avoid that type of thing. Wow, it's a big time scam. All right, well, listen, thanks for your calls. We appreciate it. We do need to take a break. I would like to, because we've got Tony Danza coming up, I would like to give away, do me a favor, Chris on line one, have him hang on. Chris is on hold for a long time. I didn't get to go to him and see if he wants some tickets to go to see the Bob's Burgers movie. And I'll take two other callers as well. It's a screening tomorrow night at UA King of Prussia, 7 o'clock, 215-263 WMMR from 20th Century Pictures. The Bob's Burgers movie hits theaters May 27th. So we'll give away the last of our passes now. We're going to take a break, come back in a second. Don't forget Tattoo Tuesday today, so text word tattoo 39333. Might win a Preston and Steve themed tattoo from Floating World Tattoo and Piercing. We'll be right back.
Preston and Steve on 93.3 WMMR.
Hey, we only get to do this once a year, people.
Coming up a little later on this morning, we are going to talk to Jeopardy champion, current champion, Ryan Long, who's from the area.
Doing Philly proud?
Yep, he's from Mount Airy, so born in Philly and moved to Bensalem at the age of 9. We know a little bit about him, but we're going to find out more when we talk to him around 9 o'clock.
Oh, he's from Bucks County. He's so smart.
He's so smart,
Yeah, I
so
figured.
intelligent. So
He's not from Bucks County. He's from Philadelphia.
But he moved there at
Kinda
9
like how you're
where he
not
got
from
his
Bucks County.
education.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll have this
Well, have
little
him tell
debate
us.
with
Yeah.
him later on this morning. But in the meantime, I saw this article. I thought it was very interesting, and it was essentially a forum. People had shared their stories of rules that were put in place because of them.
Oh, okay. I like
So
this.
You did something, and whatever you did from there on, there was a rule. This is, you can't do that anymore. And I was picking my brain, and I know it's had to have happened to me. I know I've done something before with
You've
this.
caused a rule to be implemented.
I'm sure. Somewhere in school, but I can't remember what. But I
kind of think you probably did, but
maybe something will come to me. But I have some examples, and I would love to hear your stories if you had a similar incident take place. So I'll start with this one, where a person wrote in and said, "My brother and I got into a cattle prod sword fight at a farm store. We shocked the hell out of each other a few times, and now they have the cattle prods locked up. We were in our 30s when this happened."
Oh, my God.
So they made a rule at the store that you could no longer take out the cattle prods. Another one says, I put a croissant in one of those hotel conveyor toasters, and it soon became engulfed in flames and had to be extinguished. The next day at breakfast, there was a sign that said, "If you'd like your croissant toasted, please ask a staff member." So they put up a rule after that. Here's one, definitely that had some lasting power to it, I'm sure. This says, as a kindergartner, I once fell asleep in the bus. I was on the bus, and when I woke up, the bus was in the garage.
This has happened.
I had to yell to get to someone to get me out. So to this day, every bus driver in my school district needs to walk to the back of the bus and check every seat before they park the bus.
This has been in the news a few times where they've had kids and the bus driver failed to do that. And there was a kid sleeping in the back seat.
Yeah, I think that's pretty standard, though.
Yeah.
For bus
So
drivers.
this-
They're supposed to anyway.
This probably happened a long time
Yeah,
ago.
right.
They made that rule. Here's another one. It says, in my high school history class, there were about 10 of us who were really close friends. And we take every opportunity to make your mom jokes. And a couple of months into class, the teacher made us sign a treaty promising to stop making fun of each other's moms. We signed
That's
it,
funny.
and then we started making fun of each other's dads right after. I like this one a lot, too. It says, a friend of mine in a military school found out the regulations never stated what color the bed sheets for a bed made for inspection had to be in. So this man went and bought Power Ranger sheets and made the perfect regulation bed. And I've never seen so many sergeants lose their cool but be unable to actually do anything since the regs were perfectly followed.
That's great.
Needless to say, the next year's regulations were updated to state that sheets must be plain white. So they absolutely changed the rule altogether at a military school. Let me go to Kenny. Hey, Kenny, good morning.
Rocky Road.
Rocky Road.
Well done. Kenny, what's going on, man?
Hey, good morning, guys. So I used to work at Tower Records, open until midnight. And we were basically allowed to play any tunes we wanted on the stereo. And I was a practical joker, and I decided that Animal by Wasp was a great idea.
All right.
To play through the entire store. And if you know the song, it's not a good idea. So the manager was right there, came out screaming, and he said, now here's a short stack of CDs you guys can only listen to. And no, nothing good there.
So he took this broad policy and you caused it to be refined down to a selection of sort of neutral music.
Yeah, a lot of Steely Dan in there.
Yeah, it's good, but it's not Wasp.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
Thanks,
hilarious.
Kenny. Yep. Rule changed because of you. Let me go. You guys will know this one. Let me go to Stoney. Hi, Stoney. Good morning. Oh, my. Wow. You sound like you hurt yourself on that one, Stoney. What's up, bud?
Yo, what's up, man? You guys know me. I'm the sled builder. I'm the one that almost killed Pierre.
Yes, from the Cardboard Classic.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
And because of that, you guys don't allow us to use fireworks. Not allowed to ride on the second floor.
Right.
Yeah, I also built the big wheel. Well, a buddy of mine built it. We're not allowed to roll down a hill anymore.
That's right.
You are the reason
Dude, that was
for
great.
a lot of roles.
Had to do a lot of refinements. And if you ask, is it a good idea? Just ask Mr. Peanut.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, so Stoney was the cause of rules being changed at the Cardboard Classic. Multiple rules being changed.
Multiple rules.
Yeah. Nice job, Stoney.
Wow.
All right, thanks, bud. We'll see you next
Thank
year.
you. Have a good one, guys.
You too.
I have one that's slightly embarrassing, and Steve, you'll have a field day with it. I had a job when I was pretty poor. When I was 21 years old, my job was to drive around Enterprise cars, and I didn't have any money. And so there was a Mercedes dealership where I would drop off cars and pick up cars. And at that Mercedes dealership, they would offer up free breakfast for their customers. But I was also hungry in the morning, and so I would avail myself to the bagels and the coffee that they had out for their paying customers. And
Where did the food go?
Well, I didn't take all of the food. I just took enough for me. No, not a lot. Shut up. Just a little bit every morning. But they eventually had to put up a sign that said, bagels and coffee for Mercedes customers only. And I was like,
it didn't say Dear Nick.
That was that's for me. All right.
Well, here's a similar story to that. This says, I worked concessions at a ballpark. In the park at Hershey, Thursday, June 26th. I'm not going to give away tickets at this very moment. We gave away a bunch earlier. We have 4-packs, family 4-packs to give away. In fact, total, we're giving away 500 tickets for people to join us that particular morning. And that includes free parking and early admission to the park. Now, you can get all the details at WMMR.com and you click on events, and there's another chance to win there. So make sure you do enter that way as well. And you never know, you might be joining us for this wonderful event that we miss and love and are back at again coming up on the 26th. All right, let's get a final look at traffic. Marissa, what's going on this morning?
There's an accident that has the right lane blocked. It's on the Atlantic City Expressway westbound, right before 42, jam back to Berlin Cross Keys Road. We're also slowing on the Commodore Barry Bridge westbound from the toll plaza to 95 due to construction. Over on 76, we're slowing eastbound the Boulevard out to Vine, westbound from Vare to Vine Street Expressway, and Belmont Avenue, where there is an accident on the shoulder. It's blocked back to the Boulevard. There is some more road construction on 95 that is northbound from Academy to Woodhaven Road, where we have some jam up, and southbound from the Betsy Ross Bridge to Allegheny Avenue. This traffic report is brought to you by Vital Strategies. Opioid overdoses can happen anytime, but naloxone can save a life. It's easy and safe and free. Be ready, carry naloxone. Learn more at youcansavelives.org, and that's your traffic on 93.3 WMMR.
Thank you, Marissa. Casey, do you sometimes forget that the cameras are on YouTube all the time?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I reached over and just grabbed at his face. He's like, what are you doing? The camera was on his face, so I just wanted to play around while Marissa was doing the traffic. All right, let's take another crack at these B-file stories.
WMMR presents Preston and Steve's Bizarre File.
Brought to you by A.D. Moyer, trusted expert since 1939. A.D. Moyer Lumber is your professional source for decks, windows, doors, kitchens, millwork, and more. You can visit them on the web at admoyer.com. I don't always dive into something tragic right at the beginning of the B-file, but I am going to do that today. The body of a 41-year-old ski mountaineer has been recovered after he fell. Listen to this. 3,000 feet off of Denali, the tallest mountain in North America. Alex Chu of Seattle, Washington, was on the West Buttress climbing route on the Peters Glacier when he fell on Monday. The other two members of Chu's expedition reported that the unroped ski mountaineer fell at a location known as Squirrel Point towards the Peters Glacier, an exposed, rocky, and is it Serac, Nick? Is that the correct term?
Yeah, I think it's a crack in the ice.
Okay, covered 3,000. It was a Serac covered 3,000-foot face.
So it was a cliffside, or did he fall 3,000 feet cascading down the mountain?
I'm not sure, Steve.
Both are unpleasant.
I would think that it's so steep, not necessarily doing a 3,000-foot free fall, but I'm not really sure.
Jesus.
After witnessing the fall, the reporting party lowered over the edge as far as possible, but was unable to hear or see Chu anywhere. Nick, by the way, a ski mountaineer, is that someone who walks up and skis down?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, all right, so that's what he was doing.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Due to high winds and snow, ground and air search was unable to access the accident site until the early morning hours of Wednesday morning. After the 41-year-old's body was recovered from the more than half-mile fall, rangers returned to Denali National Park and Preserve headquarters, where his body was transferred to the state medical examiner.
I'll stay down here and watch mountaineer, which has proved to be much more safe.
Yes.
Yeah.
In 2010, an unroped French mountaineer fell to his death near the same location towards Peters Glacier. Now, his body was never recovered.
Man.
So that happens from time to time.
Yeah.
There are currently an estimated 500 climbers on the mountain, and the climbing season typically begins in early May and ends in early July.
That mountain takes like a month to climb because it's so remote that it takes a really long time to get in. There's no roads or anything like that, so you have to hike all the way in, and then it's also one of those mountains where you have to go up and then come back down a little bit and then go back up again because you're acclimatizing the whole time.
Ooh, my goodness. Terrified parents were forced to watch helplessly on as their children were carried into the air and dropped several meters to the ground below a flying bouncy castle.
Another one of these things.
Yeah. 2 school students were carried 40 feet into the air after high winds caught the untethered inflatable during a fundraising day at a school in South Africa. Footage captured the moment that eyewitnesses screamed in terror. One shocked-looking attendant was seen looking on and anxiously staring back at the camera as a child lost their grasp and plummeted onto a group of parents forming a human crash pad. The parents their quick reaction saved the child, but she was left seriously injured and taken to the hospital alongside a second youngster who was also caught up in the group. The one was reportedly left with a fractured skull and the other with a broken arm, and it's not clear how many or if any other children were on board and managed to cling onto the side of the castle, which landed about 50 feet from where it took off. A witness said it was not a very windy day, but it seemed this huge gust just came up from nowhere, and it was said the bouncy castle had not been secured to the ground. So it can happen in an instant.
You always tether those things.
Yeah.
Maybe they were just ignorant to the amount of footage that every season you'll see one of those things blowing up into the air because they didn't tether them.
Yeah, and then go way up high if it's windy. So it's very, very dangerous. All right, newly obtained video shows a DoorDash driver's attempt to deliver food to a customer at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport last month not only breached perimeter security, but also failed to trigger an immediate response. And in surveillance video, the delivery driver's red Hyundai Elantra is seen pulling up just behind and to the right of a United Airlines wide-body jet parked at Terminal 1.
Wow.
The vehicle stopped for approximately 20 seconds before pulling forward again and then stopping alongside the jet.
Yeah, did anyone order a roast beef sandwich?
Baggage handlers noticed the driver and approached. However, it took nearly 10 minutes for a marked Chicago police vehicle to arrive. It's unclear from the video whether police or airport security officers may have approached the scene sooner on foot.
Can you order those food delivery services while you're on the tarmac?
I would wish you could. The driver entered the restricted area through a security gate at the southeast corner of O'Hare, indicating that he traveled a significant distance from across the massive airfield without being stopped or raising alarm. No guard was clearly visible, and he proceeded through the gate, following instructions from his GPS coordinates in an aim to deliver the meal, the driver told police. Police found the food order and DoorDash receipt in the driver's car and released him without issuing any citations.
I was just delivering an order.
The private security guard manning the perimeter checkpoint told police that she didn't immediately report the breach. The vehicle, she had said, had indeed driven through her post, or this spokesman said, to which she regarded as strange and unfamiliar. She told officers, according to the reports, she then closed the gate but made no attempt to contact the operations center or notify her direct supervisor. That employee is no longer involved or employed by Lincoln Security, and the airport credentials have been terminated. So they're trying to figure out exactly how this person ended up on the runway.
Want to go on the tarmac? Sure, come on in.
Wow. All right, I'm going to do one more story in California. 9 felony counts have been filed against a sheriff's detentions lieutenant who allegedly drove drunk and was involved in 2 crashes in 2 hours. Patrick McNeil was charged Wednesday with multiple counts of DUI, causing injury, hit and run, causing injury, and misdemeanor resisting arrest. McNeil crashed twice within hours on March 16th. He was off duty at the time. The first crash happened around noon. McNeil was cited for driving under the influence, and officers had his car towed and took him home. Well, about 2 hours later, officers were called to a hit-and-run crash. McNeil was identified as the driver who fled and was later found at Laredo Jail, where he was arrested after a short standoff.
I just love the first one so much I had to do it again.
The district attorney's office conducted additional investigation to determine the full extent of injuries to parties in both collisions. Wow. And after a couple hours, you think maybe dude would
sober up
a little bit?
No. He was drinking still.
I'm back to it.
Guess not. All right, and there you go. That's what I have in the bizarre file for you this morning. All right, we are going to take a quick break. We'll come back in a second. We'll get to lesson question, trash, music news, all that stuff. Stay right there. All-you-can-eat promo day, where tickets were more expensive than usual, but concessions, excluding alcohol around the stadium, were free. So I worked that day, and of course, it was chaos. And when the lines started dying down later in the game, they started sending home some of the hourly employees, myself included. But I didn't go home. After I clocked out, I stayed in the stadium, got some cheeseburgers, cheesesteaks, and a soda, then found an empty seat in the crowd for the last few innings. The next year, they had the same promo. New rule for staff. If you get sent home early, you actually have to leave the stadium. So it's similar to you, Nick.
But I understand his point.
Let me go to Steven. Hi, Steven. Good morning.
Chicken pot, chicken pot, chicken pot pie.
Thank you for the serenade. What's up, man?
So when I was a kid, me and my family used to belong to the Warminster Swim Club, and all the township folks used to cut through the swim club to get to their maintenance building quicker. So when I was 14, I was riding my bike through the swim club, and I got nailed by a van. Township supervisor was driving through.
And so then after that, what happened?
No more cutting through the parking lot.
No more cutting through the
Well,
parking
you can
lot.
understand that clearly
Yes.
since you almost died.
Yeah, you took one for the team, for the walkers
Damn
and
it.
bike riders. Thank you, Steven. Appreciate it. Let's go to Will. Hey, Will, good morning.
Good morning. Sorry to bother you guys at work.
Nah, what's up, man?
So back in the ancient times of the mid 1990s, teachers had copy cards for their copiers at school, and they would sometimes send a couple students to go make copies for them. Well, I was one of the responsible ones, and they sent myself and one of my friends to go make copies. Well, one of my friends takes the copy card and decides to copy a magazine from his father's collection and send pictures around the entire school. And so after that, teachers were never allowed to give copy cards again to their students.
Wow.
Of course.
They killed it.
Because you were working now in the porn industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, you can understand. Yeah.
Good times.
Thanks, Will.
I love those
appreciate
last second scrambles because I didn't realize that we had not a common like the Power Ranger bed sheets.
Right.
We should have specified.
Here's another example. It says in middle school, I would use Sharpie, permanent markers to, quote, tattoo myself. Other kids thought that it was cool, so I started charging $1 per drawing wherever they wanted. The principal found out, and after I refused to stop, she put a ban on Sharpies for the entire school. Even the teachers could not bring them in. And then this person writes, I'm a tattoo artist now.
Oh, my God.
Ended up making a career out of it. I will go to Holly. Good morning to you, Holly.
Good morning.
What's up, Holly?
How do you work?
Thank you.
Yeah, I was in middle school. I think I was like 12 or 13, and I decided I wanted Domino's pizza, so I ordered one, had it delivered to the cafeteria. Apparently, they never had a rule about that, but there was one after that.
You're like Spicoli. You got pizza delivered to school.
Yeah.
I I did Domino's, but I had to share it.
And so did they talk to you about it, or did they just issue a statement that said no more of this?
Well, they did. I had a principal that actually I loved. We got along great, and he had to vice principal, excuse me, and he had to pull me aside and talk to me, and he said, "This is not like you, Holly. I can't believe you did this, but good one."
Yeah,
Well,
all right.
That wasn't that bad. You ordered a pizza. That's all.
Yeah, but they made a rule after that. So, all right, thanks. Here's a text that says,
You gotta buy a crappy pizza.
Says, according to my husband, a 2 beer at a time limit was installed and stated at the Fest House in Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, because of him and his buddies building beer cup pyramids on the table, dancing every dance with the Fest House dancers, and generally acting like drunken maniacs. Don't know if this is really true, he said, but apparently that happened.
2 beer limit.
Here's a similar one. This one says, in college, some friends and I used to go to a Mexican restaurant every Thursday and often on Saturdays for their $1 margaritas. As a group, we would go there a lot. And eventually, they put a new rule in. It was now $2 margaritas and no more than 4 margaritas per person.
Oh, bummer.
A lot. Well, so I wasn't responsible for it, but there used to be the thing at the Roy Rogers where the Fixins bar, and people would go and just make sandwiches. So there was one right near my college. And I think this is probably corporate wide, but people would go do that and not really buy anything.
Right.
And so they put up a sign at that salad bar, for patrons only, for paying customers only, because it was getting like Nick, like the Mercedes.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go to Christine. Hi, Christine. Good morning.
Hey, bitches.
Hey, what? All right, Christine. What rule did they change because of you?
Well, you said porn industry, so this goes a little towards that. So when my friend and I were 17 years old, friend of the family was the penalty box official for the Flyers back in the old Spectrum. And we were waiting for him after the game. We were outside in the corridor outside the locker room. You could get really close to the players at that point. So the door swings open, and Brad McCrimmon and Kathy, let's just say they call him the Beast for a reason.
Wow.
Brad McCrimmon was standing there totally naked. So, of course, 17, I'm like, oh, my God. So ever since then, they changed the rule was that nobody could get down in that corridor by the locker room unless you were affiliated with the Flyers organization. And
or
now,
a 17-year-old girl.
At 17, and
Yeah.
now I'm in human resources, so there you go.
Oh, there you go. So
man.
you're handling stories like that.
That's funny. And
Yeah.
that was the moment they made the rule. Wow. All right. Thank you, Christine. Hope you're proud. We'll go to Frank next. Hi there, Frank.
Beating your head in with a hammer.
I was hammering in the morning.
All right. What's up, Frank?
I was a bartender, and a customer ordered a flaming shot. And I didn't tell the customer, hey, you need to blow fire out because we can't consume that. And so he goes.
We, as human beings, cannot consume fire.
No,
Okay.
Science has taught us that.
Yes.
So he goes to drink the shot, gets scared, cause fire, drops the shot. It breaks on the bar, and my bar engulfs in flames for a moment. And then, I had to take like a soda gun to spray it off.
Oh, that's
and,
funny.
Yeah, so no more flaming shots at Texas Roadhouse, guys.
Oh,
There you
really?
go.
Nice.
There you go.
Nice.
A flaming Mo.
I don't know if it was you or the customer, but
Yeah.
But yep, absolutely. All right, some other examples. This one says, I got our human resources Dropbox taken away at work because HR threatened to not pay us if we missed a clock in or clock out. I printed out the law stating that what they were threatening was illegal, highlighted it, and put it in the HR box when no one was around. Our HR rep threw an unholy fit and tried to figure out who put the paper in her box. And from then on, everything had to be handed in personally instead of a box.
I can see that.
And they went on to say, in our defense, the phones didn't always work and the clock-in system was really unreliable. So that's why they had made that complaint. Another one says, I already did that one. My younger brother was always late to school and tardy every day. He eventually figured out that if you just skipped first period altogether and showed up to his second period, he was counted as being at school with no late penalty since he was at second period on time. and they had to change that the following year.
So the rule would accommodate just going to second period, and he would be listed as
present for the day.
present for the day,
but with no tardy for the first
Right,
class.
right.
Okay. That's gaming the system.
Right.
Yep.
Need to adjust that.
Let's go next to, and we're taking calls on a rule that was made because of something you did. And I will go to Kenny next. Hey, Kenny, good morning.
Hey, Kathy, it's Jay. I heard your mixtape, and I want to take you back.
Wait, do you know Jay, or did I say his name on the air?
You said his name on the air.
That's great. Very astute, Kenny. What's up, man? What'd you do?
So in middle school, you know, like you get changed in the locker rooms for like gym class. It's the first time you're all excited to use deodorant and be like a man.
Right.
Well, we were we were in the back of the bus, and we decided some kid, I'm not going to say his name, but he brought a lighter, and we were making fireballs in our hands.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Shooting flamethrowers. And the next year, our bus driver would not allow those deodorants in his bus. So I had to use stick.
Okay. Oh, you had to use a stick from there.
Yep. And it was only our bus driver. It wasn't the whole school. It was just our bus driver. I thought he was just an old grouchy fool.
Oh, yeah. You didn't like you making fireballs on the bus.
Come on, dude. We're just making fireballs on a moving vehicle that is powered by gasoline.
That's funny.
Wow.
ZZ Top on 93.3 WMMR. It's everything that rocks. Good day to you, friend. Monday morning. Easing the blow as best we can. It's about 12 minutes after 10. Next thing you know, Pierre will be along, and then Brent will be along, and you'll be on your way home, and you'll be relaxing. You can settle into an evening of Jackie Bam Bam on WM.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, by the way, Thursday, speaking of Jackie Bam Bam, he's going to be checking in with us live because the Preston and Steve, I believe for Preston and Steve Blood Drive, day one is taking place. And we will be, for that particular day, having people head to Live Casino Hotel in Philadelphia, where we have had one of our locations for the past several years now, but taking place on Thursday. And so we'll check in with Jackie through the morning. Then Steve and I are going to go by and do our blood donations after the show is over on Thursday. And then Friday, we broadcast live from the Expo Center at Oaks. And that is, the whole show will be there. And we'll be trying to break the world record for
Munchkin toss.
Donut hole. Yeah, Munchkin toss.
And Eric Simon has promised there's going to be a whole bunch of interesting little flourishes taking place during that broadcast and things around the facility. And Eric always delivers.
You can still make a donation. You can still sign up to come by and donate your blood for the American Red Cross. If you go to PrestonandSteve.com, you will see it's one of the main links right there, and you can get signed up, and we would love to see you either Thursday or Friday, whatever is most convenient for you. And we get some much-needed blood into the hands of the Red Cross, who can get it out to people who can literally have their lives saved by you.
Yes.
Taking maybe an hour out of your time to come by and be a part of this. So we hope that you're going to do that. It's one of these things we ask for you every year. If you can, we'd greatly appreciate it. And we'll have some stuff for you as well. We have the I Believe for President Steve T-shirt. It's the special one that was made by listener Kristen Kimball. And we're also going to shout you up with a President Steve Show tote bag from Window Nation. So, like I said, all the information on the website. So go grab it and come and see us. All right, it is lesson question time. We're going to give away a pair of tickets for the NASCAR Cup Series. Great American Gateway 400, Sunday, June 22nd at Pocono Raceway. The question is, famously, Casey has a tattoo on his taint, but what kind of tattoos does Steve have on his taint? All right, let's see if you know the answer to that. What kind of tattoo does Steve have on his taint? We were talking about people and their ink, and Steve noted that he has this particular character on his taint. And if you know the answer, 610-660-9333 is the number. Call right now while you're calling in. We'll do that.
The trash business is a gold mine. 93.3 WMMR with Preston and Steve's Hollywood Trash.
Brought to you by United Tire and Service. You can get ready for summer travel. Buy 2 tires and get $50 off an additional service. Don't drive alone. Drive United. UnitedTire.com. What's going on this morning, Steve?
Well, excuse me, Lizzo posting more sexy pictures showing off her weight loss on Instagram. The accomplished musician says she prefers being a flute to a tuba because there's more fingering.
Oh
my God.
Meghan Markle spending a special day at Disneyland with husband Harry and their kids. The family purchased a special fast pass that has everyone else in the park chased out at gunpoint.
Yeah.
And finally, rapper-actor Bow Wow addressing comments online saying his recent weight gain is because of a movie role. However, many are claiming it's more likely because of dinner rolls. And that's your Hollywood track.
All right, T, let's go to the phone, see if somebody knows what kind of tattoo Steve has on his taint. And it is EJ that we're going to check in with and see if he knows. EJ, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Gadzooks.
Gadzooks. All right, so what kind of tattoos does Steve have on his taint, please?
My Little Pony.
That's it. Well done, my man. Hang on. You just got yourself a pair of tickets for the NASCAR Cup Series Great American Gateway 400. That's on Sunday, June 22nd at Pocono Raceway. It is time to start your summer as NASCAR returns on June 20th through the 22nd. And it's the Tricky Triangle, Pocono. For more information and to get your tickets now, you can head to PoconoRaceway.com.
Now, Preston and Steve's Music News on 93.3 WMMR.
Couple stories passed along. Music students have been delighted by a surprise visit from Bruce Springsteen and Sir Paul McCartney.
Wow.
The boss and his E
That's
Street
pretty
band
cool.
were in Liverpool over the weekend. They had a couple of gigs at Anfield Stadium. It was part of Bruce's Land of Hope and Dreams tour. The 75-year-old rock legend took time out to visit the Liverpool Institute for Performing Arts with the former Beatle, greeting and cheering crowds outside the entrance to the school, which Paul had co-founded. LIPA described the visit on Friday as a truly incredible day. Could you imagine?
I mean, just out of the blue, you have those guys there. It's pretty amazing.
Yep. And fans from
What the hell's he doing here? This is my school.
Fans from across the world descended on Liverpool for the shows.
Sorry.
And Bruce brought Paul out on stage for an encore or two. I didn't catch specifically what songs they did. I just saw a blurb about it this weekend, but that would be pretty damn amazing.
You ever go to the beach and you're wearing a thong? This is called a thong song.
Oh, geez.
Bring out Paul McCartney, join me.
You know, Bruce does like
I'm not doing that.
covers from time to time.
I don't like that song. It's very stupid. You're a stupid man. Even suggesting that. All right, we'll do another one.
I wonder what it's like for a mega legend like Bruce Springsteen to spend some time with another mega legend. I mean, you know, Paul's, as legendary as Bruce is, Paul is
eclipses
a little further up.
You're nothing. I wipe my ass with Bruce Springsteen. When I take a big dump and it's a big mud pie back there, I just tear off a Bruce Springsteen and wipe my ass with it. So I just want to put you in your place.
When you go to the bathroom, do you say you're taking a boss?
I do. It's a Thunder Road back there. Little bumpy.
No, but I just wonder what it's like for legends. If legends are still if it's even in them to get nervous for meeting somebody, you know what I mean?
They did the Can't Buy Me Love, and Bruce took a backseat to Paul's singing, even though it was Bruce's show. And so you heard, they traded choruses, they went back and forth, but then you'd hear Bruce sing, and Bruce was deferring to Paul, which I thought was a classy move.
Well, you can't. I mean, I don't care what level you get to. You know that Bruce Springsteen was weaned on the music of the Beatles for quite a long period of his life.
Yeah.
So if it has eluded him at this point in his life, I feel bad for him because, but I'm sure it hasn't. I'm sure he's
it hasn't.
every bit the fan that he's always been.
Yeah, it's so cool. We're looking at video of it. Paul's looking.
I don't really like your stuff.
Paul's looking back at Max as he's jamming, and they're all making eye contact. That's
This the guy from The Sopranos.
That's little Steven.
Yeah.
That's is you Silvio Dante?
This is Silvio Dante. Where's Big Pussy?
Speaking of legends going out on stage, Olivia Rodrigo's headlining set at Governor's Ball featured her usual all-star theatrics, but she kicked things up a notch when Talking Heads frontman David Byrne made a surprise appearance, and they did a duet with Burning Down the House. And
that's awesome.
And the video's great. They were wearing similar outfits. Byrne dressed in white with red overalls to match Rodrigo, traded lines with her throughout the performance. The two also mimicked Byrne's iconic stage moves.
I prefer her outfit.
That he would, yeah, she's wearing, obviously something really skimpy and tight, and she looks amazing. But it was very cool. I watched the video. It sounded great. They ended up running in place, and she was bending her knees beside him, so they did this little choreograph thing, which was pretty damn cool. So I like that. And then finally, if you're bummed that you can't make the trip to England for the final Black Sabbath performance and all the pageantry surrounding it, we've got some good news for you. It's been announced that the event will be live streamed worldwide. Back to the beginning, as the event has been titled, takes place July 5th in Birmingham, in the UK, of course, the birthplace of the band. The sold-out show will feature sets from Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Slayer, Pantera, Hailstorm, Alice in Chains, Lamb of God, Anthrax, Mastodon, and an all-star cast of other musicians.
So you assume it'll be on LinkedIn?
Nope. It will be. The stream will begin at 10 a.m. And that's Eastern time.
All right.
July 5th, and will cost $29.99 with video on demand replay access through July 7th. Live stream tickets can be purchased now at backtothebeginning.com.
That's pretty well.
Interested. So, yeah,
You have a good enough stereo system and everything. You want to blow it on out?
Yep.
Be fun. I remember something that was akin to that, obviously, though it wasn't streaming or paid for, the Live Aid.
Yeah.
When you spent the whole day just watching it.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Very special. Yep. All right, and was this our sponsor?
Yes, sir.
Well, on the back end, I'm going to mention our Music News sponsor. It's brought to you by Primo Hoagie. Celebrate dads and grads with Primo Hoagie's catering trays. Make any event Primo with 10% off all catering every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday until 6/15, meaning the 15th of June. Must be
Not the year.
Must be a Primo Perks member. I was thinking time of day, not year, but anyhow.
What is this?
That is what I have for you. All right, we're going to take another break. Come back in a second. When we get back, we'll get our first letter for the Word of the Week prize. And, we'll see what Pierre's got going on. We'll be back in just a moment. Stay with us.
Preston and Steve.
Appreciate it. Here's a follow-up to our call earlier from Christine, who saw the Flyers players naked. This text says, I was dating Christine, and I was with her when that happened. I saw Brad McCrimmon's junk.
That's
so
hilarious.
they were a part of the whole thing. So, legitimizing.
So that was a well-known legend with him?
I don't know. I just said his name the beast.
Now it is,
so.
yeah.
All right, here's another text that says, I made a fake penis out of clay in middle school, and I waved it around on the back of the bus and got caught. They had no more clay in art class because of my wiener.
Well, we are in the broadcast industry, and we have tons of fake penises around
Oh, yeah.
here. So,
Yeah, we got loads. Yeah. Let's go next to Justin. Hey, Justin, good morning.
Hey, good morning. You guys rock.
Thank you, sir. What's going on, Justin?
So back in high school, one summer, me and a buddy, hot day, went to a 7-Eleven. Then they have the big 100-ounce mugs for soda. Well, the little deal was buy the mug, get a free soda. Well, we decided to fill it full of the slushie instead. So we fill it full of Slurpee, go to the register. She can't charge us because she doesn't have it because it's not listed as an actual drink as for the soda because we weren't supposed to fill it up. So we got the free 100-ounce Slurpee, went back the next day with the same mugs, and they plastered paper all over saying we couldn't fill it up with Slurpee anymore.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
You gamed the system for one day, though.
One day.
Yeah, I remember that. There was a big thing where remember the one you could bring in your own receptacle?
They do that like once a year.
Right.
Yeah, where you can bring in your own.
Whatever you
your own
want.
mug. But they sold him that one.
Yeah.
But it was just made for sodas. Here's another one that says, when I used to walk home from school, I had to walk next to the road to get to my house. And one day, I decided to see if I could walk with my eyes closed.
Oh, my God. Oh, that's...
And as I walked, I didn't feel the transition from gravel to road, so unknowingly was walking on the road, and I heard a noise and looked behind me. A line of cars had formed, but none of the cars had honked, and I immediately ran off into an orchard but later learned why nobody honked. Because 2 weeks later, they put up signs that said deaf child area on both sides of the road. They thought I was deaf, so they didn't honk.
Oh, my God.
And so they put those.
So wait, that's another thing though. Do you ever try? I try to get around my house sometimes with my eyes closed.
Do you really?
Yeah, like I've tried it to see if I know how many steps
never do that.
to the door.
I've done it a few times just to see because I wake up in relative darkness and I try not to turn the lights on to wake anybody else up, and I'm like, I wonder if I could
do that.
walk from here to there without bumping into something. Yeah.
I'm usually not that successful. I'm good with the light switches. I know where they are.
It seems kind of goofy for you to do that.
I know.
Let me go to next to Carl. Hey, Carl, good morning.
Yoo-hoo!
Yoo-hoo! All right, Carl, so they made a rule because of what?
So in high school, we were allowed to leave for lunch and get in our vehicles, go uptown, get whatever we wanted. My health teacher was betting that I couldn't make it to Delaware because that's where Taco Bell was. To Taco Bell and back before the period ended. So I jumped in my Mustang, hauled ass across the Delaware Bridge.
It's like Smokey and the Bandit.
That's basically
Steve.
it.
Yeah.
You're encouraging excessive driving, excessive speed.
That's where it comes into play because when I got back into town, I was worried about time, so I'm going 75 down Broadway, and the cops pull into the high school behind me as I'm carrying Taco Bell in.
Okay.
So, yeah, I was the last one to be able to leave.
Oh, so they made a rule you couldn't leave campus anymore.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you ruined it for everybody. I blame the teacher.
So do I.
I blame the teacher, Carl.
What's that?
I said I blame the teacher on that one.
Oh, he was awesome. I can't, I'm not going to...
All right. That's
I bet you can't get there and back.
I wonder when because when I was in high school, they allowed us to leave campus at lunch as well. If you had a car,
right?
At some point that stopped, but we took advantage of that every day.
It was huge in my high school. I think, and then there was one part where of the year where a kid got hurt. And I think that's what put the kibosh on it.
All right. Well, awesome examples. Thanks for your call. Think about that today. Talk amongst your friends. They made a rule because I did this. We got to take a break because we're going live on Fox Good Day
Yes,
today.
that's right.
Let's break and come back with that as well. The Bizarre File coming up too. Stay with us. We'll return shortly.
Well-made displays.
I think it was a Pokemon. Yeah. And this kid apparently knocked it over and broke it.
Like smashed it.
And what the guy didn't know, the dad didn't know, is it was like
$5,000.
Yeah, it was like this $7,000 thing. And sorry, you got to pay for it.
Yeah.
Now they went back and they ended up watching video, and the kid wasn't like playing around with it or something like that. He had
just knocked it
he had
over.
leaned on it or something along those lines, and so he knocked it over and it
But I would imagine like bigger stores, I don't know where they are, they have some sort of insurance that if something like that happens, you're not going to make the parent pay for $1,000 ceramic Pikachu.
I've heard stories of like, again,
I've seen
the old adage is you break it, you bought it.
Right, you break it, you buy it. And I've seen that at like smaller stores, like especially if they sell glass items, like, especially down the shore. Like some of those, little shops down there, if you take the kids in, like you could see everybody tense up and like there's a little sign that says you break it, you buy it.
Mm-hmm. You can see the owners, like if you walk in, and so we don't have kids, but when people come in with like small kids into places like that, like in New Hope.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
my words before I go in are don't touch anything.
Yeah. No, and I get nervous around stuff like that. If there's shelves with like hundreds of plates or just fragile things.
Yeah.
Like I purposely bring my arms in closer to my body as I walk along.
Likewise.
I try to shrink myself up as much as possible because I know I'm just going to knock something over.
help, please?
Yeah.
Because you're terrible. Because you could walk. If you were to go, the way you normally go through, you knock over one thing, you're looking at $300 or $400.
I see Jace's eyes though, like I watch him and he's like, "Oh, mom," and what's this? And like he wants to touch it, so that's his way of being like, "Oh, what? I was just asking what it was. I wanted to see what it was. Put it down. Don't touch it.
Kill you.
It's $10,000."
So I definitely want to hear the you broke it, you bought it stories, 215-263-WMMR, whether it was you or your kid or whatever, because we've all had that happen.
So I don't know if she ever had to buy it. She might actually be listening right now. But I had a friend who was at a store, and there was in the middle of the store was a nail polish set up. And I think she tripped and fell, and she fell into the nail polish, and all of the nail polish shattered on the floor, broke. Wait, she pretended like she was passed out because she didn't want to get up.
Shut up.
She pretended like she was like knocked out.
Oh, that's great.
And so when they got her up,
that's
she was
great.
like, oh my God.
I'm pretending I passed out.
Yeah. She said it's the whole store smelled like nail polish. She didn't know what to do, and so like her friends like escorted her out, and she pretended like she was like super hurt. Meanwhile, they got into the car and they were like hysterical laughing.
Did she just say things like, "I hope the baby survives"?
Oh my God. What I was going to ask, and I've never done this myself, is if you've ever broken something and then try to like hide it on a shelf, underneath other things, or shove it way in the back.
Oh, right.
But that's a much better story.
Yep.
You
Oh, my
pretend you're
God.
just pretend. That's good advice, though. If you break something, pretend you passed out.
By the way, a side subject from this, but whenever you see a movie or a TV show and somebody's walking through the store and there's an elaborate display of some kind of a pyramided...
You know what's going to happen.
You know what's happening, right?
It's like the guys in the movies who have large panes of glass that they're walking across the street with those suction things. You know it's going to happen.
All right, let me get some calls here. I'm going to go with Kyle. Hey, Kyle, good morning.
Hey, Mom, turn the radio down.
What's up, Kyle?
Hey, what's going on? So what if a guy threw a shoe at me? Good morning, guys. When I was a little kid, the local grocery store had like this big, huge display of tomato sauce. They had this like huge family-sized jar. And like any other kid,
Great song, great band. Struts on 93.3 WMMR. Could have been me. 10:32 a.m. on this Monday morning, June 9th, as we are coming to a close of our show. And an enjoyable day because we got to make some cool announcements, and we got to hang out with some people. The cool announcement that we made in the 7 o'clock hour was the fact that we, the Preston and Steve Show, are returning for a live broadcast at Hershey Park. Been a long time. I'm curious as to when that last live broadcast was. It was a while back.
Well, it sort of existed in perpetuity after it actually ended that go-round, because everyone would always call up and joke about wanting Hershey Park tickets because it was such a coveted thing to win.
Yep.
Well, it's back.
Yeah, we'll be giving away 500 tickets to join the party. You can go to PrestonandSteve.com. We just kind of wet your whistle with today, but I want to before I just go throwing them out willy-nilly, I got to make sure I do them in the proper amounts every day so that we last up until it's time to do the broadcast. But it's a Thursday, which is cool. I think in the past we did it on a Friday. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. Well, you remember the night you saw Rush?
Yeah, for the final performance
in
and
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Max, I think. Was it Max who drove you?
It was, yeah.
Our intern.
I drove, because normally we spend the night before, because otherwise, you have to get up 2 o'clock in the morning and drive to Hershey. We stayed the night before and do the live broadcast. But Rush was playing the very last show. It was the final, it was on their wrap-up tour. And so we went and watched the whole show. And then I'm like, I'll never be able to, I'm going to have to get a nap.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm going to drive and then get back to and have an hour and a half to sleep and then go to work. So Max drove me, which was really cool. And, but yeah, that was probably the last time we were there. I'm not 100%, which was 2015.
Right.
Wow.
I would think so.
10 years ago.
Was it?
10 years.
10 years, man.
No.
All right,
10 years, man. 10.
Maybe that wasn't the last. I don't know. But we are headed back again. We'll be broadcasting live on Thursday, June 26th. You can go to PrestonandSteve.com. There's a chance for you to win passes there, and we'll be giving away a bunch of them. So we're excited to get back there again. You get into the park early, and you get free parking and stuff like that. And there will be a discounted price that you can purchase tickets for this if you do not win them.
Oh, and I've heard they have kettle corn, Preston.
They do. I don't know. It's been a while since we've been there.
I know.
Well,
yeah,
they still have it. And things have changed. So we went there last year, and the layout has changed quite a bit.
I've heard dramatically,
Yeah, it's awesome. Thanks also to Ricky Batalico.
Hey.
He's got a new show on our sister station, The Fanatics, called Unfiltered, with Ricky Bowe and Bill Calarulo. And we were talking Phil's and just his career and stuff. And Rick's one of our close friends, so it was great to have him by here this morning. And speaking of our close friends, Steve-O.
Hey!
of Jackass fame, and he told us he loved us on several occasions this
And
morning.
we loved him.
We do. And he's actually going to be back next week because he's going to be promoting, and he'll be in our studio next week, promoting his shows coming up at Helium next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it's this multimedia, crazy / stand-up show that he's doing at Helium.
And he shoots stuff specifically for the areas that he's coming into. So, it's the only way to see it, and it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, heliumcomedy.com to get your tickets for that. So those are all the thank yous to mention today. Pierre Robert is here. Nice to see you again, sir.
Good day.
You have a good weekend?
Yeah, very nice. Thank you.
Awesome. Excellent. Did you make it by that party you texted me about this weekend?
I did, and no one was there.
Oh, man, I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
Okay.
All right. But,
Well, the party was there if you were there.
yeah, you're
That's for
right.
sure. Yeah.
I just I laid in the gutter and I got money.
You know what's funny?
It worked out.
Pierre, I did a couple of live broadcasts with Brent Porsche, and people come up and ask where you are all
the time. Yeah.
Yes, every single time. Is Pierre Robert here? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe how many more of these broadcasts you guys have?
2 more. We're off this week, and then next week we'll be in Havertown at J.D. McGillicuddy's, and then in Prospect Park at Marty McGee's.
This is for Wednesdays?
On Thursdays.
Thursdays.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, maybe one of these times I will make an appearance.
There you go.
Nice.
There you go.
All right, letter of the day, my man.
Yes, please.
All right, here we go.
Preston and Steve on 93.3 WMMR.
Now, the Daily Letter.
All right, the Preston and Steve show is brought to you today by the letter
R as in rocket.
Excellent. We will give away a pair of VIP tickets for the Barefoot Country Music Festival that is featuring Jelly Roll and many more. Courtesy of our friends Primo Hoagies. Primo will also be giving away Barefoot tickets for the next 2 weeks on their Instagram account. You can go to Primo Hoagies on Instagram. There you go for more chances to win. And it's not just a hoagie, it's a Primo. So we'll give it away on Friday. What you going to do today, sir?
Well, we've got tickets for Seater and Daughtry, or some people say Seether. But I prefer their new name, Seeter, Seeter. Seether and Daughtry will be at the Hard Rock in Atlantic City in October. We got those. We got Green Day, Grateful Dead, and Muse for Matt Bellamy's birthday today.
Nice. All right,
Muse,
thank you.
Bring it to America.
Bring it to America. Bring it on. All right, I'm going to thank our sponsors. The President Steve Show is brought to you today by Dunkin', and the President Steve Show runs on Dunkin'. Also brought to you by Acme Markets, fresh foods, local flavors, and CertaPro Painters. Schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. Tomorrow, we'll give away more of those passes for Hershey Park, and we're going to have joining us Mr. Tom Johnston of the Doobie Brothers.
That's pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing.
Long-time fan.
I was listening to some Doobies over the weekend in preparation for this. What a talent. So it should be cool to talk to them. They have new music coming out. All right, so that is it. We are done. Rage on. Have yourself a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow, friend. Bye-bye.